Well, if you're a Y guy like me, I've got something for you to think about. Hormone levels get skewed not with age. Hormones get skewed by poor lifestyle habits. Our male hormone test can help us find the why behind your male hormone challenges. So give us a call and get your male hormone test today. Pumping hormones into your bloodstream is not the answer, not without the many health risks associated. Stop tampering with your hormones, because if you don't, you'll probably live long enough to regret it. So from one Y guy to another Y guy, let's get her done the right way, the only way, taking more natural steps towards healthy hormone balance and performance today. It's our male hormone test. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
Hi, this is Sean Morrison, owner of Morrison Security Corporation. Here in Chicagoland, we see it all. Rising crime, civil unrest, and growing concerns for the safety of our families, our schools, our places of worship, and our businesses. Every American has a right, the Second Amendment right, to protect what matters most. At Morrison Security, we take that responsibility seriously. For over 25 years, we've been on the front lines, providing licensed, highly trained security officers, men and women committed to professionalism, reliability, and results. We stand for truth, honesty, and integrity, and we bring those values to every client we protect. Whether you need coverage for a school, a church, a retail location, construction site, or corporate facility, our mission is simple: protect people and property with excellence and accountability. Morrison Security Corporation. Protection you can trust, integrity you can count on. I am Sean Morrison, and you have my word, honesty and integrity always. Visit morrisonsecurity.com. That's morrisonsecurity.com.
Rashaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way that have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dreamed to do.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Scott Jennings says this could come back to bite them.
It's pretty clear to me that Democrats want to use the Epstein situation to try to tie up Donald Trump, to try to create a narrative that he somehow had something to do with this when there's not a shred of evidence that he ever did. But they may have blundered into a problem here with some of their own people getting caught up in this web.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's November 20th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Absurdity Day. No one really knows why today pays homage to the weird, odd, or absurd, but feel free to act a little outside the normal. History is riddled with people or events which were once thought of as absurd, which have now become reality, like space travel or flying. Did you know at one point in the history of the post office, you could actually mail a small child for as little as 15 cents? Insurance, of course, was optional. So go ahead, wear a sweater inside out or say ahoy instead of hello. Also on this date, in 1789, New Jersey becomes the first state to ratify the Bill of Rights. And in 1985, computer operating system Microsoft Windows 1.0 is launched. If it's your birthday today, you share it with the first commissioner of baseball, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, born in 1866, and President Joe Biden, born in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1942. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
When age-related health issues arise, don't just treat the body, treat the soul. For over 130 years, Lutheran Life has provided nonprofit, Christ-centered care for seniors. Arlington Heights, Ottawa, Bloomington, and Crown Point. 4 Lutheran Life communities to serve all your needs for assisted living, memory care, nursing, and rehab. Find out how by visiting LutheranLifeCommunities.org today. That's LutheranLifeCommunities.org.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and the listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
Temperatures are cooling, but not concerns about inflation, market volatility, and taxes. Revisit your financial plan this fall. VestGen Wealth Partners work with individuals to develop personalized plans that help navigate changing conditions with confidence. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com to learn more.
Advisory services offered through VestGen Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and VestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. VestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the absolute perfect place for the magical holiday gift for someone you love. Buying jewelry is about trust. Roland's is the jeweler I trust. I'm a customer, and I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews, so many of them. But why not? They're the best. They're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Roland's has a large selection of mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? I love mine from Roland's. I continue to be impressed at how expertly trained their staff is. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or RolandsJewelers.com. That's Roland's, ROLLANDS, Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust, just like I do.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by extending their wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows for only $14.98. It gets even better. Upgrade to a queen-size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more, or multi-use pillows for only $9.98. Get body pillows for $29.98 with a free pillowcase. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98. Kings only $1 more. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. Order $100 or more and your order ships absolutely free. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026.
Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about, and maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering, just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. One more time, that number is 312-827-6261.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Space Force Commander Matt Lohmeyer stood up against the Marxist agenda threatening our military.
Your ideology doesn't matter one bit.
Share your pronouns in your email.
He knew that if he didn't speak up, no one else was going to speak up.
Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers.
Race identity politics, critical race theory, white fragility, white guilt.
Don't miss the new movie Call Sign Courage, the Matt Lohmeyer story.
We need lethality in the military, period.
Watch it now or buy the DVD at salemnow.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
When it comes to industrial coating and finishing, cutting corners isn't an option. That's why leading manufacturers across the Midwest trust D&D Industrial Coatings in Racine, Wisconsin. From powder coating and liquid painting to blasting and custom finishing, D&D Industrial delivers top-tier protection and performance, fast, precise, and built to last. With over 40 years of experience, ISO-certified processes, and state-of-the-art lines, D&D handles everything from OEMs and petrochemical to agriculture, marine, construction, medical, and government specs. Family-owned, nationally trusted. Whether it's a short run or high volume, your parts are in expert hands, finished on time and finished right. Visit them today, ddindustrial.net. Again, that's ddindustrial.net. Or call them at 262-637-0686 to get your custom quote today. Again, that's 262-637-0686. D&D Industrial Coatings. Engineered to protect. Finished to impress.
Ready for some holiday magic? Pack up the family and cruise over to Go-Bert's Farm in Pingree Grove, where 2 incredible Christmas light shows are waiting to light up your night. First up, the Go-Bert's Christmas Drive-Thru Light Show. We're talking millions of lights synchronized to music that'll have you cranking up the volume. Picture this: dancing penguins getting their groove on, snowflakes cascading all around you, reindeer galloping through enchanted fields, plus a dazzling tunnel of lights that's pure Christmas magic. But wait, there's more. The legendary Larson Christmas Light Show, the one everyone's been raving about from Campton Hills, is now right here on the Go-Bert's property. 30 minutes of jaw-dropping lights, spectacular special effects, and surprise character visits that'll make the kids lose their minds with excitement. Here's the best part. You can experience both shows in one epic night. Perfect for families, couples, or even your company party bus. Because yes, limos and party buses are totally welcome. Per vehicle pricing keeps it affordable, but grab your tickets online now because these shows are selling fast. Visit GoBerts.com for tickets, times, and all the details. Go-Bert's Farm, where Christmas dreams come to life.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today we'll start with some patchy morning fog, then it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 51. Tonight stays mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will be quite cloudy with a high of 50. Saturday will bring a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Burn, bitch. Burn alive, bitch. Those were the statements made by the man in custody and now charged with federal crimes for lighting a woman on fire on the Blue Line on Monday night. As disturbing as the story is, it just gets worse. It's a disturbing story about the barbarism of this crime. It's a disturbing story about the barbarism of what passes for the criminal justice system in Chicago and Illinois. Thank God the feds are handling this. Andrew Boutros is the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, discussing the charges against Lawrence Reed yesterday.
This young woman was on her phone, going through her phone, minding her business, when Mr. Reed approached her and began throwing gasoline on her.
Mm-hmm. Again, we corrected the reporting yesterday. The initial reporting, it was the suggestion that they had somehow had some verbal altercation. Not that that would justify what he did, of course, but no, it's worse than that. She was sitting there scrolling on her phone, and there's video to support that description, minding her own business.
The surveillance video is difficult to watch and is very disturbing, as a young woman was set ablaze and tried to put herself out while other passengers got out of the way or watched.
Perhaps people were afraid to get involved, but what we could say is, even as she was on the ground trying to put herself out and is rolling on the ground, desperately trying to put out the fire, no one came to her aid until she was able to get off the train and to the platform. And when she finally stumbled down, two Samaritans came and put out all the blaze that was all consuming her.
And the report is in critical condition. This young woman is fighting for her life. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line and text line. The 50-year-old, again, as we discussed yesterday, but we've got a lot more now, was on pretrial release for allegedly knocking out a psychiatric ward social worker back in August. Now has been charged with a terrorist attack or other violence against the mass transportation system, thus the feds taking over. He's in a psych ward, and he brutally assaults a social worker to the point of unconsciousness. But, of course, that didn't stop him from being released by Cook County judges. The fact that he had 49 arrests, 10 for felonies. Everybody deserves a 50th chance, Dan. The judges, they need to be made famous. Well, more accurately, infamous. Let's get a rundown on them. In a detention petition filed 3 days after the incident I mentioned, where he knocked out that social worker at a psychiatric facility in Berwyn, a state prosecutor said he struck the female social worker about the face with an open hand, causing the victim pain and loss of consciousness. The victim on duty at the time suffered extreme nausea, severe pain in the eye and head, difficulty with balance, 2 ER visits. She likely has optic nerve bruising and a concussion, causing her to experience memory issues, headaches, and daily nausea. Charged with aggravated battery causing great bodily harm. Despite that, Teresa Molina Gonzalez rejected the detention request and ordered Reed released on electronic monitoring rather than being put in jail. A month later, in September, court records show Judge Ralph Metchik modified the electronic monitoring order to allow him out of his home during some daytime hours on Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Neither order would have allowed Reed to be on the CTA or out of his home at 9:35 p.m. on a Monday or any day, but who's enforcing that? 49 arrests, 10 for felonies. Aggravated assault causing great bodily harm with that record, which you can't consider under the Safety Act. The infinite wisdom of JB and BJ and all those members of the Democrat socialist power structure in Chicago and Illinois that everybody thought was a good idea to put into positions of authority. And now he becomes the 19th person this year accused of killing or trying to kill someone in Chicago while on felony pretrial release. (2025). The actual number of shootings and murders committed by people awaiting trial for felony allegations. As CWB Chicago notes in their series, it's their series, they've been doing this since 2020. Undoubtedly, the numbers are much higher than what they've actually been able to record, since CPD has brought charges in less than 5% of non-fatal shootings and only 33% of murders, according to the city's own data. Victims of people who were awaiting trial for a felony in Chicago in 2025, 9 murders, 8 attempted murders, 7 aggravated batteries with a firearm, 1 aggravated battery reckless discharge, 3 others. People who were victimized by people on pretrial release for a felony, who then committed these other felonies, victimizing more people, preventable crime. 37, 2025. 52 in 2024. 58 in 2023. 110 in 2022. 116 in 2021. 79 in 2020. Hundreds and hundreds of people and thousands of people impacted when you're talking about family and friends, because we have judges like the 2 I mentioned, Ralph Mechik, M-E-C-Z-Y-K, Teresa Molino Gonzalez. I understand Mechik was convicted of federal income tax evasion and pardoned by Bill Clinton, and now he's a Cook County judge. Text from 708. I'm a psych nurse, and I can tell you we've had several incidents of severe violence and attacks to staff. We are completely discouraged to press charges saying that nothing's going to happen because they're mentally ill. It doesn't surprise me. And this is from the folks that want to put social workers in charge of patrolling the streets and responding to serious 911 calls. Sure. You can't, not that I'm blaming the person in the psychiatric facility in Berwyn for being assaulted by this guy, but you're in an institutional setting. And you still have problems protecting yourself from these people like Lawrence Reed. Anybody have anything to say about the lack of good Samaritanship demonstrated again in this case? There's video, at least snapshots of the video you've probably seen, where after he douses her with gasoline, and they've got video of him filling up a bottle with gasoline at a gas station before he got on the Blue Line. After he douses her with gasoline, and then she flees or attempts to flee, he lights the bottle on fire himself while approaching her to light her on fire. And she's cowering in her seat. It was eerily reminiscent, tragically reminiscent of that young Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte cowering in her seat before she was stabbed to death by a repeat violent offender. And nobody thought it was a good idea to get involved when you saw somebody dump gasoline on a young woman's head. When you see this guy approaching with a bottle of gasoline that's on fire to finish the job. Burn alive, bitch. Is this the kind of city and state you want to live in? Russ in Des Plaines.
Yeah, there used to be a mental institution for people like this. With these criminal offenses, where he slipped through the loopholes and everything. Come on, he should have been. If I am my daughter, my whatever this happened to, I'd say, what is this animal doing? No, I'm sorry, not animal. He's a sick person mentally. Why is he locked up into Reed Hospital or incarcerated in whatever way? That's the point.
Thanks for the call, Russ. That is the point. How many felonies does he have to commit before you say he is a serial predator and he should not be free? How many young women does he have to attempt to burn alive, to put a finer point on it? I guess that's a question for the judges. But it's also a question for every resident of Illinois, particularly in Chicagoland. Coming up at 5:38, the other big story of barbarism from yesterday, the Droogs, Clockwork Orange inspired, who attacked that woman and her kid outside an elementary school on the south side. Well, that woman and the father of those children that she was protecting or attempting to protect, they both have spoken out now, and we'll discuss what they had to say at 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Federal prosecutors have charged a man with terrorism for allegedly setting a woman on fire on a Chicago train. According to an affidavit, Lawrence Reed approached the woman as she sat with her back to him on a Blue Line train Monday night. He allegedly doused her with gasoline from a plastic bottle before lighting her on fire. The woman was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Reed is charged with committing a terrorist attack against a mass transportation system. Health officials say 31 babies in 15 states, including Illinois, have been sickened in a growing outbreak of infantile botulism tied to ByHeart infant formula. ByHeart recalled all of its products sold throughout the U.S. No deaths have been reported, but health officials say that parents and caregivers who have the formula in their homes should stop using it immediately and dispose of the product. This report is a service of Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials, all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now...
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Everyone is watching major movements ripple through the markets these days, sparked by new policy shifts out of Washington, elections around the country, and activity from the Federal Reserve. Americans have faced uncertainty before, and every time, we've found our footing again. The real secret to long-term financial peace is simple. Keep your eyes on the horizon and understand the fundamentals that drive real stability. That's exactly why Advantage Gold is inviting you to call 800-741-GOLD right now. We'll send you a free Gold IRA rollover kit, along with a complimentary copy of economist Ken Rogoff's insightful book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Inside, you'll learn how to defend your retirement savings against inflation, market swings, and reckless fiscal policies with tangible assets like precious metals that have preserved wealth for centuries. It's no wonder Advantage Gold has been America's #1 gold company for the past decade. Take a smart step toward protecting what you've earned. Call 800-741-GOLD. That's 800-741-4653. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this fall. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Don't wait. The cold temperatures are coming, and the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this fall special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive fall special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
Picture this. You're halfway through a DIY car fix and boom, you're missing a part. It's okay, because whatever it is, it's on eBay, and it's guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect patchy morning fog followed by thick cloud cover with a high of 51. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will bring considerable cloudiness and a high of 50. By Saturday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here talking about barbarism and cowardice. To the values that Chicago and sport. Two features of the city that works. Rough and tumble. We work hard, we play hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we all impressed. The guy now facing federal terrorism charges for lighting a woman on fire on the Blue Line. As I mentioned, 49 arrests, 10 for felonies. Not his first experience with fire. In April of 2020, Lawrence Reed poured gasoline along the north end of the Thompson Center and set it ablaze because he hadn't received his supplemental Social Security check. Fire was caught on camera by a passerby. It's posted on the CWB story on the topic. He pled guilty to arson, received 2 years of mental health probation from Judge Arthur Hill. Despite being arrested 3 times on misdemeanor charges, including twice for battery while on probation, the court deemed his probation performance satisfactory and after prosecutors dropped all of those charges. So he's already a habitual criminal by the year 2020. He tries to light the Thompson Center on fire because he didn't get his government check. He gets 2 years of probation. He gets arrested 3 times while on probation, and the probation is deemed his probation performance is deemed satisfactory. The 3 other arrests, misdemeanor charges, all dropped, even though they know he's a habitual offender. Are you looking for a reason to get this obvious predator off the streets, or are you looking for a reason to put him back on the streets? It's obvious. It's clearly the latter. And it was prosecutors, Kim Foxx's prosecutors, conspiring with judges, Cook County judges, to do just that. So, again, these names that no one knows, but they should really do a deep dive, and we're going to profile them. Arthur Hill and the judge, Teresa Molina Gonzalez, who rejected the detention request of prosecutors in August after he knocked out a social worker while under the care of the staff at the McNeil Hospital psych facility in Berwyn. She put him back on the streets, Teresa Molina Gonzalez. And then a month later comes Judge Ralph Metchik, who modifies his electronic monitoring order to allow him out of his home 3 days a week. They should be unindicted co-conspirators in this case. If I was the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District, if I was Mr. Boutros, I would be talking about these judges, too, and sending a message to the Cook County judges. And maybe it's time to have a deeper conversation about the sort of immunities that public office holders enjoy. I know everybody likes to focus on police. Let's go. Well, we can have that conversation. We've been having it for years. The limited immunity. Let's widen it. I don't know. You have to do something on one end of the system or the other. It doesn't seem like the signs are very encouraging that we're going to do it on the judgment of the electorate side. An electorate that features people who watch a young woman being attacked, being burned alive, watching her actually burning alive and doing nothing. And let me just say this, because we've talked about this Good Samaritan in a, quote unquote innocent bystander business before, and I know people are going to bring up Daniel Penny, and that has a chilling effect on being a Good Samaritan, and I understand that. This is not like me trying to be a tough guy or anything like that. But if I'm on that train and I see that happen and I do nothing, I couldn't live with myself. Yeah, I people are in the moment and what you think you will do and you're afraid and you're thinking about your family or whatever. I could not live with myself. Just as I wrote about many years ago, that I bring up all the time when we talk about the lack of Good Samaritanship. The Marquise Gaines case, many, many years ago. I wrote a piece for the Tribune on this. This young dude just getting off a shift, bartender at some bar on or near Hubbard Street, goes to the 7-Eleven on the corner of State and Hubbard. And some goon is loitering outside. Goons loitering around, preying on people. It's been happening for a long time in Chicago. Just big city living, I guess. Anyway, he gets a bag of chips and whatever, walks outside. He gets cold cocked by this guy for no reason. Knocks him out, lays him out in the street, right on the corner, right on State Street, right off the corner of State and Hubbard. He's lying on the street, just a few feet from the sidewalk, but he's unconscious. And what do you see? And this is a heavily trafficked street, even in the early hours of the morning. Lying unconscious. You see from security camera footage that's caddy corner from the 7-Eleven. After a few minutes, two guys run up and rifle through his pockets and rob him. Another great commentary on Chicago. And then people walk by, don't do anything. Guy's laying on the street, unconscious, and he doesn't look, he's like a good-looking, properly dressed young dude. Doesn't strike anybody as odd. don't want to get involved. You walk by him. And then at some point, there's a car double parked not far from the 7-Eleven on Hubbard. A taxi cab goes around that double parked car to make a right onto State Street. Doesn't see Gaines lying on the ground, runs him over, kills him. It's sort of the same thing. If I'm walking across State Street on Hubbard and I see that and I don't do anything and I later learn what, at least pull him off the gosh darn, and I don't do anything, and then I learn that the guy get killed. What a fracking waste. I couldn't be troubled to pull him off the street. I can't be troubled to knock a gasoline canister out of this deranged individual's hand and beat him senseless as is necessary and enlist my fellow passengers. Hey, Momos, what are you doing here? Let's protect this woman. What happened to our Todd Beamer, let's roll attitude out there? The whole thing is just so sickening. And God, I'm just so sick of reporting on it. Well, you wonder why people leave Chicago and Illinois. They're so disgusted by this. Mike in Yorkville.
Dan, I'd like to say good morning, but I understand your pain, what you're talking about, because it's on my head quite often, especially for my children. You have Soros-backed DAs that are willingly going to go ahead and prosecute people that stand up for their rights and defend themselves, even if it's in a deadly aspect. And also, why aren't judges held to the same regard as the people they prosecute? Now, you just described a gentleman that died that was a bartender. If he, as a bartender, overserved somebody and they went out and killed somebody because they were overserved, they'll go after that bartender. But a judge who lets go somebody that's violent back out in the street and they kill somebody, there's no responsibility on that judge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right. And there's no responsibility on the politicians, starting with the governor, who provided the avenue for judges, and almost basically the mandate. That certainly is the spirit of the law. And all those legislators striking a great blow for criminal justice reform to provide a glide path for violent predators to stay on the streets, to violate after violate after violate, to victimize after victimize after victimize. Bill in Monticello.
Yeah, good morning. Actually, my legal residence is in Burr Ridge, and don't ask why. But every election year, I am frustrated about retention of judges. There's no database to find out anything about these judges and who deserves to stay on their bench. What can we do about that?
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for the call, Bill. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to contribute productively here. There's all kinds of ways to pitch in, and that's one of them. It's been a failure of the Republican Party. Been a failure of my I'll take my share of responsibility too. We could do something about that. We could get more information about these judges. We could raise more money to distribute more information about people like the judges I just mentioned: Teresa Molina Gonzalez, Ralph Metchik, Arthur Hill. These should be household names for all the wrong reasons, just like Kim Foxx is, or any number of disgraced politicians. Chris, Dan Ryan.
Yeah, hey Dan. I work downtown. I work in the area of the Jesus Saves place where they help the homeless people and stuff. I work in that area, and I see quite a bit of craziness that goes on down there. But I mean, I hope this is my opinion. I just hope the people who videotaped that horrific thing on the subline, I hope that they have nightmares till the day they die, because that's horrific. It's not humanitarian. So, yeah, I just hope that is the case for those people. That's all.
Thanks, Chris. Jose, Midway.
Yeah, I'm just disgusted by all of this. It's a joke. And these are the same politicians who tell you, oh, you got carry conceal, but you can't carry on our trains. If you want to take our trains, you can't carry conceal. What a joke. They can't even keep us safe on these trains. It's ridiculous.
100%. I said yesterday, and I mentioned a buddy of mine's relative is Chicago cop. Tell your friends, don't ride the CTA. There's no reason to be on the CTA. Yeah, I know it's a little bit more expensive to take Uber or whatever. It's not too expensive. And I feel for people that are trying to make ends meet, but it's not too expensive when the alternative is something like what happened to that woman. I'm just saying. Every man for himself. The Chicago way. Mike, Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. I really think we need to have somebody very wealthy go the Monty Brewster route and just go none of the above for every single one of these judges, because they are the main driver of crime in this city at this point, in this county.
Thanks, Mike. It's not exclusively them, but you have a lot of politicians in robes that are just like Tony Preckwinkle and Brandon Johnson and Kim Fox and J.B. Pritzker. Whether they're ideologically convicted on the topic or they're just going along out of political expediency, the motivations don't really matter. The outcomes do. Decarceration, non-prosecution, defund. I mean, remember, it's only a few years ago when people were out and proud about that. Now it's more hushed tones, but it's the same people. I think it's pretty evident they haven't changed their behavior. Tony, Downers Grove.
Hey, Dan. I bet a lot of the people watching are part of the No King's Day and Love is Love. And then they'll go on Facebook and they'll virtue signal.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Tony. Glenn in Park Ridge.
Hey, I just, real quick, Dan, want to talk about the Good Samaritans. You better hope like heck that it's a military guy or a police officer or perhaps that bully that was in grade school that's on that train that's going to step in, because it's not the kid, that's not the professional from Northbrook or Deerfield that's never had his nose bloody that's ever going to step in. Not my problem. You better hope like heck you've got somebody that's going to step in and protect you. And they probably don't bat an eye stepping out there. Oh, that was unfortunate, that poor girl. And then they get on with life. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for the call, Glenn. But, the professionals from Northbrook or Deerfield or Glen Ellen, they're not at the blue line at 9:30 on a Monday night. No, that's not to say that there aren't professional people that live in the city and out of convenience, sort of default to the L. I mean, a lot of, people of my age cohort did when they were working in the city. But it's just different. And that's what needs to be communicated, needs to be understood. I mean, it's just starting with the fact that, as I understand it, I don't take CTA. Why would I when I'm in Chicago? I don't take public transportation. Are you crazy? And I feel bad for the people that feel more or less compelled to. But it starts with just the fact that, as I understand from people who do, I mean, you can't ride the L without getting off smelling like weed. So that's just number one. And then obviously the more important safety issues. And I know there'll be a big splash and we'll have some violence interrupters on platforms. And there'll be perhaps some press release from the mayor's office about increased patrols on the platforms or so on and so forth. Nothing changes until the mentality changes. And, by my back of the envelope math, I think we need a attitude adjustment, from a good 10 to 15% of the Chicagoland population. It's not 100 to nothing, but it's a significant deficit. Greg Schaumburg.
Hey, Dan, I've got the Chicago Trib online edition up on my screen right now. There isn't even a mention of the story in any way on that page.
No, of course not. What, some Trump called somebody a name? What's the lead, the Tribune today?
The lead is it says President Trump signs bill to release Jeffrey Epstein case file after fighting it for months.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, of course it is. Thanks for the update, Greg. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course it is. That's why the Tribune is now a pamphlet. Let us weigh in on all of the salient national and international issues. Did you see our 4-piece retrospective on the Ivory Coast? Meanwhile, we have no idea what's going on in the Gold Coast. Laughable. And the media is a co-conspirator in all of this, too. This cultural rot that has hollowed out the city. Mike in Union.
Hey, Dan, let's not forget about the race angle on all of this. All this was excused and voted for, under the guise of white privilege. So all these criminals are being let out under a false pretense, which is just horse crap. And that's why people are afraid to stand up. They know they're going to get in front of a judge who's going to be leaning left. And, look at Daniel Penny. The man's life was ruined for standing up.
Thanks for the call. Although, ultimately, I think, Daniel Penny is the better person for. I mean, I don't wish what happened to him had happened to him, obviously, because he did a heroic thing, and others did too. I mean, that's the point. Actually, I know everybody brings up Daniel Penny, but Daniel Penny took the lead, and then others helped to restrain that guy. And Daniel Penny can look himself in the mirror proudly every day. I don't know anybody on the blue line on Monday night that witnessed what Lawrence Reed did to that girl that could say the same. Coming up at 6:06, we will now turn our attention. We will take more of your calls on this because the two incidents fold together. But we'll get to what that mom who was beaten by a bunch of elementary school kids by trying to protect her own kids outside that Southside Elementary School. We'll get to what she and the father of those kids had to say at 6:06. It's now 6 a.m. on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
He signed it. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. And after President Trump gave final approval to Congress's resolution compelling the release of the Epstein files from the investigation into underage girls' sex trafficking, he posted on Truth Social the Democrat-led Biden administration never released a single file. Fox's Doug Luzader reports.
Attorney General Pam Bondi, meantime, and her Justice Department have 30 days now to comply, although some documents may be redacted and others may be withheld, citing ongoing investigations.
We have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law.
A Democrat has been indicted in a fraud case which Congresswoman Sheila Sherfulis McCormick tells CBS is baseless and a sham, claiming she's innocent. Sherfulis McCormick is charged with stealing $5 million from FEMA-related COVID funds and spending some of it on her 2021 campaign in Florida. There's a new Fox News poll out post-government shutdown.
President Trump's job approval rating is at 41%, down 5 points from a month ago. Across the board, voters didn't like how our leaders handled the shutdown, with the president at 62% disapproval and Republicans and Democrats at 63 and 64% disapproval, respectively. But when asked if the shutdown was a hardship for their families, 54% said it wasn't at all.
Fox's Gernal Scott. An economic report the shutdown delayed will finally come out next hour. The September jobs report expected to show more hiring than August, but the unemployment rate remaining 4.3%. We will never get an October report. Instead, hiring last month will be included in the November numbers that'll come out next month. Country music's best were honored last night. Lainey Wilson winning CMA Entertainer of the Year on ABC.
I just came into here just want to celebrate country music, the love of my life, and I know the love of so many of y'all's lives.
America's listening to Fox News.
It is 43 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. The suspect in Monday's train attack in Chicago is now facing federal terror charges. Fox's Jeff Manasso reports.
50-year-old Lawrence Reed was arrested Tuesday, accused of intentionally using gasoline and a lighter to set a woman on fire on Chicago's Blue Line train Monday, leaving the 26-year-old victim, who was almost fully engulfed in flames, in critical condition. Chicago police say during his arrest that Reed repeatedly yelled, "Burn, B, burn alive, B," referring to the victim. Reed's now federal terror charges, as CPD records show at least a dozen arrests since 2017, including for arson and battery, with a Cook County judge refusing to detain him. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
An appeals court has paused an injunction restricting ICE agents' use of force. The ruling from the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals says the original injunction by Judge Sarah Ellis was overbroad. However, the court stated that it would possibly support a more tailored preliminary injunction. Chicago police are advising residents to be on the alert following a string of armed robberies throughout our area. According to reports, those robberies occur between 2 and 5 a.m. In each incident, there were between 2 and 4 subjects, all getting out of a stolen vehicle and approaching the victim at gunpoint. In 7 of those attacks, the victims were actually pistol whipped. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Chicago Police Department. And the launch of mobile IDs has raised privacy and security concerns. Secretary of State Alexi Gianella said mobile IDs offer privacy, convenience, and security. Meanwhile, Libertarian Party of Illinois Chairman Jim Hume expressed concerns about privacy and security. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in-store today. Each item is priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive cash or a check right on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Medical professionals, is God calling you to contribute your medical skills for something more? Are you looking for better hours and a more flexible schedule? Since 2009, Waterleaf Women's Center in Aurora, Illinois has provided free and compassionate care to thousands of women facing an unplanned pregnancy. Due to the incredible growth of our ministry and the upcoming addition of wellness and prenatal services, we are seeking new members to join our medical team of doctors, nurses, and sonographers. Waterleaf offers a comfortable working environment, flexible hours, a Christ-centered approach, and a competitive salary. We consistently rank among the top-performing nonprofit pregnancy clinics in the nation, and our patient survey scores are phenomenal. For more information, please call Waterleaf Women's Center at 630-701-6270, 630-701-6270, or visit onechoiceonelife.org today. That website, onechoiceonelife.org. onechoiceonelife.org.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Watch out, you got a crash on the Tri-State northbound at 75th Street. It takes out the right lane and then it eases up for a while, but after that you're going to be slow as you approach the Eisenhower. Now the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office is 15 minutes. Same thing for the outbound side, 15 minutes. Looking good both ways on the Eden from Lake Cook to Montrose, just 14 minutes in both directions. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, 19 minutes. Outbound is 22. The inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 21. Outbound is 16. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange is 15. Looking good on the outbound side at 11. This report is a service of the Daily Podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the Daily Podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect patchy morning fog followed by thick cloud cover with a high of 51. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will bring considerable cloudiness and a high of 50. By Saturday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Just continuing our conversation about the two stories that speak to the barbarism and cowardice of Chicago's that are the featured values of Chicago's political culture. Spent the first hour talking about the woman fighting for her life after being burned alive, attempted murder, lighting her on fire. This habitual criminal arrested 49 times. 10 felonies, released time and again by Cook County judges. The text from 440, somebody listening from Brecksville, Ohio. Okay. Every time the story of the burning of a woman on the train is mentioned, as it was just a moment ago on national news on your station, the names of the judges who released her should also be included. Please consider doing that as you talk about it this morning. Yeah, I will level that up. It's a good idea. Yeah, I want those judges' names to be remembered, and I understand from a judge friend of mine that one of the three judges I mentioned, Arthur Hill, who meted out 2 years of mental health probation when this habitual criminal tried to set the Thompson Center on fire 5 years ago. I understand that Arthur Hill is retired, but it's fine. Okay, he's not on the bench. I'm glad he's not on the bench anymore. I'm not glad that he's collecting a pension at everybody's expense, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be made infamous. Mm-hmm. Another text from a friend of mine. I mean, this is a good point. That's why I'm trying not to, be in my own bubble too much. But he texts, the really sad thing is that there are poor, lower-class working people who commute daily and have no choice but to take public transportation, can't afford a daily Uber ride, work in nursing homes, downtown hotels, etc. These are the people Democrats supposedly care about. Outrageous. No, that's exactly right. I know. That's why I say I understand Uber's expensive. But I rather those people that my friend is talking about make it to and from work alive. That's sort of my focus. And so and this is on employers too. I'm not necessarily saying it should be out of pocket. Employers, you care about your employees, and you have employees that can't afford the daily Uber ride, understandably, aren't riding their bikes to work, even if they live close when temperatures turn south, then do something for them. And if that hurts your bottom line, then do something about your city. Where are the Lamperts, those jewelers who wrote that open letter to in the direction of Mayor Lightfoot during the rioting that hastened the demise of the Mag Mile, that hastened the demise of the city during COVID, the George Floyd riots? Where are other business leaders? I mean, they've, here and there, do something for your employers. And to the extent that that makes the cost of doing business that much worse in Chicagoland, well, then do something about it. What are you, an innocent bystander too? A big, hotel outfit, the C-suite executives in these places. I'm not putting it all on people that have tight household budgets and are trying to commute economically, and then have the added layer of worrying about their safety. The whole point. We have this every man for himself culture. And that's a problem. And it's also just beyond enraging. I mean, this is like where it takes every fiber in my being to not say something I don't want to say. But the people who preach, I'm my brother's keeper, sort of what my friend is saying too. Oh, we represent the strivers and the people that are hardworking and make our institutions and businesses thrive and so forth. Yeah, and we're we've got your back, and we're our brother's keeper because we're good Christians. The hell you are. The hell you do. We're our brother's keeper. Right. That's why they have a property tax bill burning party down in Lawndale. Give me a break already. I just... Dan in Salem, Wisconsin.
Didn't Joe Biden Crockett or whatever her name is say that the greatest threat to America is white supremacy. I don't see this happening.
I think Christopher Wray said that too. I mean, it's yeah.
You know, and another thing, Dan, you know, look at this. All the sane people left Illinois. Now you just got kooks like that. And not all black people are like that. Very rare, but that's crazy what he did to her.
Obviously. Thanks for the call, Dan. Right. I mean, most people forget that. This is just the overwhelming majority of people in every demographic, racial, gender, age, income, are law-abiding. That's why this thing is so exhausting, because it's not that complicated. Jim, Southside.
Morning. How you doing? I'm a retired Chicago police sergeant, and you know, when you start villainizing police officers' job, for ICE for doing their job, or like Marine in New York City who did his correct thing by trying to stop that crazy guy from attacking people, and he was prosecuted. You know, that's sending a message loud and clear that the good guys are the bad guys, and the bad guys are the good guys who get time and time released. Let's go, let them go, and we'll have a good time. And one day they're going to see the light, just have an epiphany that what I'm doing is wrong. I shouldn't commit crime. The whole concept of this has been set in place for many years, and now everything that they planted for like the last 15, 20 years is coming to roost, and now people don't know what to do. They're burning tax bills. It's like, how stupid can you be for all those years, and all of a sudden you can't figure out what's going on? And the media is just as much of a culprit, but nobody wants to do anything because they instill fear all the time in the minds of the good people. That's my opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, Jim, thanks for the call. I mean, that is a correct summary of the situation. But the question is, what do we do about it? Because there are bad people and corrupt institutions, we should do nothing. And I'm not saying that Jim's saying that, but I mean, it's like I get what the landscape looks like, and I understand how we got to this point. But, you know, people who are good people either stand up and are counted, or they're not. Like, you're afraid of the Chicago Tribune? You're afraid of network affiliate newscasts? What? I don't understand that mentality. Or I don't buy that cop-out, if you will. So provide an example. You know, that's contagious too. But the examples now are, I mean, the problem is, it's very much like during COVID, you have these little pockets of individual people or small groups. And we can't seem to figure out a way to stitch them together. We can't seem to figure out, I mean, there's an organizing principle, the cardinal virtues, the rule of law, human decency. But we can't seem to organize and sustain an organized effort. So we're sort of left hoping for spontaneous order, where there are enough people that are sufficiently fed up that they are going to speak out, and they are going to press whatever leverage they have in the direction of sanity. But it doesn't seem to be happening quite yet, does it? Megan in Evanston.
Hey, morning, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, just to exactly talk about or highlight what you're talking about. I've worked on many campaigns with very good people up here in the North Shore area, North Cook. And to your point about not coalescing around one candidate, there are groups that are getting together and pushing forward and reaching out to one another to build the coalition, to build groups that maybe wouldn't get together naturally, but we are fighting. And so there's a lot of ways for people to get involved. It doesn't necessarily have to be dollars. It could be time. It could be showing up at a school board meeting. It could be attending a township meeting. I think people think that it's too much of a heavy lift, and that's just not the case. And the last point I'll make is that in our suburban schools up here, North Glenbrook South, New Trier, kids are working to bring Turning Point to their high schools, and they are being successful. So we parents, we adults need to continue to fight for our state. Thanks for taking my call. Great.
Thanks, Megan. Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, all this talk, and this takes us to the South Side, all this talk about bullying, and everybody's against bullying and so forth. I mean, except when it comes to the thugs in charge of your city, your county, your state, your mediating institutions like schools that Megan was talking about, then you're happy to sit back and provide the example of being bullied by, quote unquote, bullied by them. That's the example you're setting for your kids, for the community. Dawn in Naperville.
Good morning. The sad thing is, Dan, is that it was decades ago, I don't know, 25 years, 35 years, that Milton Friedman called the conditions of Chicago deplorable. And here they are. They're still deplorable. And what he specifically pointed at as a teacher himself was that the failing schools needed school choice. They needed competition. And that's the real problem. And it's sad that we have a political real problem to call out what is good and what is evil. And what's going on is evil. And if you cared about these judges, these politicians, they're like the Pharisees back in the day with their flowing robes, and They wanted important seats. No.
Perfect.
You're insulated by your own security, and that's why you don't care. And that's what's sad.
Perfect
People who
metaphor.
care love human flourishing.
Yes, right. I know. Yes, thank you, Dawn. Well said, as always. The Pharisees comparison, beautiful. Let's talk about, let's get this family in here. Korshanda Hatter is the woman, is the mom that you saw in the video protecting her young son as she and he are being jumped by a bunch of elementary school kids outside of a elementary school on the South Side. She spoke to ABC 7 yesterday in a treacly, really pathetic excuse for quote-unquote journalism, honestly, but I'll just set that aside for now, and we'll hear from her specifically about what she's dealing with in the aftermath.
So much pain, emotional, physically, I'm not feeling good at all. 2 years and they have not done a thing. If they see me coming towards the school, they will run or tell the security that they're not, to tell me that they're not there.
She's talking about her son having been bullied at this elementary school, Orville Bright Elementary School, for the last couple of years, and the school district not doing anything. Of course, now the mayor's office is responding. We're going to get her some help, whatever that looks like. And the school, well, what? She also said that her son, can't sleep. He's sort of traumatized from the incident. I mean, I can understand. And he looked traumatized in the moment when he was gripping his mom as these kids are surrounding them and beating on her and throwing them to the ground and then beating on her and him. It is, thankfully, the injuries are not as severe physically as what happened on the CTA, but the barbarism particularly given these are elementary school kids, is just as jarring.
They both is devastated. They keep talking about it. My son will just jump out of his sleep at night, calling my name.
The father is Devon Lee Sr. This is what he had to say.
I'm at work, and if I was with them, it wouldn't have happened.
Devon Lee Sr. is the kid's father.
I want justice. I definitely want the school to be responsible, and the parents too, and also the kids that have done that mess. We also have trauma too. You know, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all. But I had to force myself to see, because every time I close my eyes, I see the video.
They need to do something about those squeaky chairs in the home there. But otherwise, 312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line. You know, Stacey Davis Gates, if we could just talk about the school for a second. Stacey Davis Gates, these are our kids, right? CPS students are our kids. Yeah, we like kids. They are our kids. So when conservatives say we treat them, you know, their children like they're our children, yeah, that's right, because they are our kids. That's what she says in her bull jive bravado. What a risible figure she is. Another Pharisee. Thank you, Dawn from Naperville. So what about that? What's going on at the school? Listen to what one former CPS principal had to say about the approach that she took. Now, I don't know exactly what high school she was a CPS principal, so I'd like to measure her rhetoric up against her record. But what she had to say about taking responsibility for your institution and the adults and children within it, pretty compelling.
I'm hearing you all say that it's not the school's fault. As a former principal, as an educator for the past 30 years, that's bullshit. We play a part in that. Yes, parenting is a part. But what I know is that for as long as I was an educator, every 2 weeks I was receiving taxpayer dollars to do a job. And I understood that working in Chicago with black students in our neighborhoods, that an education was more than mathematics and reading, that I had to address values, I had to address the way the students treated each other, and I had to hold them accountable. I don't give a what time it was or where they were at. That clearly shows that those are a bunch of students that are leaving the school. So what happens prior to them leaving the school? What are we feeding them or not feeding them that allows them to behave that way? What are the children thinking of the principal and the leadership at that school that they can do that, record it, and get away with it? That says a lot about the environment of the school and the expectations of the leader, because I'll be damned if any of my students were to behave that way, and so many, because this has happened before. It was only going to take one time for students to do that at my school, because I don't f around with children. And too many of us are scared of children. We're scared of parents. And so, yes, the school plays a part in that. At my high school, we had Morning Circle where we address those types of issues. If something like that happens, I'm putting that video up. Y'all want to talk about her ashes? I'm putting that video up. And I'm talking about those raggedy ass fake Crocs that you had on. I'm talking about y'all goofy looking asses. So I'm going to treat you the same way that you treat others. And the lesson will be there. Do unto others as you want done unto you. We don't have time for these I went to university by the book principles. No, I am from the Madden Park Projects. I did not go to teacher school. I went to the School of Hard Knocks, and I did it a different way.
Yeah, we could use some more quote-unquote crazy Joe Clarks in principal roles in CPS and elsewhere, couldn't we? A little bit more of a lean-on-me culture. Rich, downtown.
Good morning, Dan. Long-time listener. Appreciate your straightforwardness. Just calling regarding that poor young lady getting lit on fire by riding public transportation, something that we as taxpayers, we pay a lot. It's time for people to wake up and make changes. first step, we got Preckwinkle. Riley's not the perfect candidate, but it's time for change. You got to cut off the head, and that's sending a message. We got to eliminate her and then slowly work on the Safety Act authors. Let's start making changes. If not, burning property tax bills, that's going to do you nothing. We got to start making changes at the ballot box. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it. Yeah, if we can get Brendan Riley out of the boss bar, maybe. But yeah, Brendan Riley, the alderhuman, is running against Preckwinkle for Cook County Board President. I don't know. Mary Midway.
Oh, I'm calling to comment on the comment Brandon Johnson made. It was before your show started. It was the only comment I heard from him regarding the woman set on fire, the suffering she must be going through. And things. Well, anyway, he says, yes, it was an unfortunate incident, but this is not indicative of what goes on the Chicago Transit line. This woman is suffering so horrible. And he talks about Donald Trump. Donald Trump would have probably said something so beautiful. He's immediately CYA.
CYA, and please keep writing. You just bailed out the CTA, so please keep patronizing our trains and buses. Yeah, but that's wonderful, Mayor Johnson. Most people who ride the L do not get burned alive. That's a real calling card. Great branding, Brandon. Well. One thing, though, just a reminder on BJ. You can't let this just be about BJ. It has to be about JB. It has to be about Tony. It has to be about the whole structure. And we need to get our way to the top quickly. But don't think knocking Brandon Johnson out in 2027 for next man up is accomplishing anything. Any more than we should have thought knocking Lori Lightfoot out for next man up was going to accomplish anything. Let's learn some lessons, too, while we're trying to figure out the path forward. Coming up at 6:36, we'll turn our attention to matters economic when Jim Urio joins us. Now let's check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. The man accused of dousing a woman with gasoline and lighting her on fire while on a CTA train was in court yesterday. Authorities say 50-year-old Lawrence Reed was disruptive during his first appearance in a federal courthouse, including yelling over the judge that he wanted to represent himself and claiming that he was a Chinese citizen. According to reports, Reed shouted, quote, "I plead guilty," repeatedly as a judge tried to advise him of his rights. Reed has been charged with federal terrorism charges. The Chicago Transit Authority says it's working closely with police in the investigation and that it has a multi-pronged approach to security, including the use of surveillance cameras. And Chicago police are advising residents to be alert following a string of armed robberies throughout our area. In 7 of those attacks, the victims were pistol whipped. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Chicago Police Department. This report is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off any service, including inspections, or take advantage of limited time federal rebates on a new furnace. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Catch more money with leading economist Steve Moore.
I'm excited about America. I think things are going really well. I think we've turned a corner here. I think Biden economics is well behind us now. This is a miracle what's going on here. If anything, it's better than I thought it would be. So many good things happening in the economy. Low inflation, low unemployment rate, consumer confidence up, business confidence up. All of the indicators are pointing north right now.
It's More Money, Saturday at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago Immune Support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the absolute perfect place for the magical holiday gift for someone you love. Buying jewelry is about trust. Roland's is the jeweler I trust. I'm a customer, and I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews, so many of them. But why not? They're the best. They're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Roland's has a large selection of mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? I love mine from Roland's. I continue to be impressed at how expertly trained their staff is. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or RolandsJewelers.com. That's Roland's, Rollands, Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust, just like I do.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by extending their wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows for only $14.98. It gets even better. Upgrade to a queen-size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more, or multi-use pillows for only $9.98. Get body pillows for $29.98 with a free pillowcase. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98, Kings only $1 more. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. Order $100 or more and your order ships absolutely free. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026.
Does your old pillow have more lumps than Aunt Judy's holiday gravy? Well, this Black Friday, Hassellus Mattress has your back, along with your head and neck, too. Through December 2nd, purchase a new Sealy Posturepedic or Beautyrest mattress, and Hassellus will give you a free adjustable base and a pair of super supportive and incredibly comfortable pillows. Free next-day delivery, too. Who knows? You may be one good pillow away from becoming a morning person. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
The historic cherry wood of the colonial bedroom at Penny Mustard reminds me of George Washington, who said, "I cannot tell a lie."
That's appropriate, since the colonial bedroom is fit for a president.
That's no lie.
I also cannot tell a lie.
Really?
No, that was a lie.
The majestic colonial bedroom, featuring a king panel bed with drawers, 8-drawer dresser, panel mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $13,445 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Do the holiday parties, tailgating, and family get-togethers have your liver working overtime? Let Active Liver help give your liver some relief at Amazon or VitaCost.com, CVS, Meijer Grocery, or ShopRite.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Real slow on the northbound Tri-State as you approach 75th Street. This is all because of a collision. It takes out the right lane, then more delays as you approach the Eisenhower. Now, the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office starting to get slow, 23 minutes, outbound 16. Inbound Eden is 15 minutes both ways from Lake Cook to Montrose. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 23 minutes, outbound is 24. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 27 minutes, outbound is 17. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 16 minutes, outbound is 11. This report is a service of Audible. Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. Fall for a brooding duke. Dive into a steamy romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas, or find the perfect rom-com from Lily Chu. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today we'll start with some patchy morning fog, then it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 51. Tonight stays mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will be quite cloudy with a high of 50. Saturday will bring a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Well, the bad news has been the market declines amid jitters that this AI revolution may be a bit of a bubble that is likely to burst. The good news comes from Elon Musk in a little panel discussion that he and Jensen Huang of NVIDIA had at the U.S.-Saudi investment confab. The good news is that none of it matters. Jim Urio is about to be made obsolete, so let's enjoy him while we have him momentarily, because work and money, optional. Elon Musk.
Where will things end up long term? I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
Optional. So
we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, in the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. Now, between now and then, there's actually a lot of work to get to that point. Mm-hmm. I always recommend people read Ian Banks' culture books to get a sense for what a probable positive AI future is like. And interestingly, in those books, money doesn't exist. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is, if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints, but I think at some point currency becomes irrelevant.
Interesting. I didn't know he was an Ian Banks fan. I haven't read all of his books. Surface of Games, I think, is the last. Surface Detail, I think, is the last book. The Player of Games is the other one I read. Surface Detail, which is maybe, I don't know, 10 years old or some such thing. But yeah, he's pretty good. But anyway, that's not the lead. The lead, of course, is that work is optional. I'll be very much like growing my own vegetables. Even when work is optional, I will still be ranting into a microphone, so you can count on that somewhere, just because I enjoy it. But Jim Urio's shelf life is about 10 years, and then it won't matter because work will be optional and money obsolete. So, again, let's give Jim Urio a proper send-off. Jim, the host of the Future's Edge podcast, special contributor, wirepoints.org. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. That sounds like a horror movie where work is optional. I mean, I don't think people really understand the psychological condition of people. You need to feel that you're plugged in and useful. If you give people free time, that is a disaster. And the way all those people clapped about not working, it's like we're in some sort of dystopian weird spot, which, by the way, AI, I use AI quite a bit in a lot of the things I do. The force it is going to come with is staggering. And this is something that I think should frighten people a little bit. And I'm not normally one who gets frightened by a new technology. I believe in Adam Smith's invisible hand. One technology comes in, creates other opportunities. But this one's a little different. This one is weird to me that it could replace a lot of the thinking we do.
Well, I mean, to be fair, most of those people clapping about the no work future are Saudi princes who don't really work. I mean, all the work they do is just spending the oil money that comes rolling in on a daily basis. But yeah, no, the idea of I don't even really understand what he's saying in a sense, because I guess there will be just so few high-skill technical jobs needed to ever innovate technologically to serve the AI beast, that everybody else's jobs, the workaday jobs or the manual labor or being a radio talk show host, just gets automated, I guess, right? That must be what he's talking about.
To me, it sounds like the plot from Idiocracy. And, and I believe that was a prophetic movie where a bunch of people who just are a bunch of idiots. And and that really just depresses the heck out of me.
Yes. Definitely recommend all of Matt Judge's work, too, while we're on the topic of recommendations. But I mean, so just on the other side, since money is still relevant at present here, the AI bubble concerns, do you share them?
Sure. Yeah, I absolutely shared them. And I thought yesterday's NVIDIA earnings was going to be a big thing. So here's why I think we're in some early stages of a bubble. And yesterday confirmed to me that it was an early stage. When Bitcoin and cryptocurrency 2 weeks ago started to head lower for whatever reason, I think there was some sort of whale selling, they started to drag the NASDAQ down with it. Now, the NASDAQ and cryptocurrency world have been trading in a correlation, but that's normally NASDAQ leading the way, not following. And when it followed lower over the last 2 weeks, I thought, okay, that's indication number one that we're in some level of stretched positioning. But what I wanted for confirmation is if NVIDIA posted good earnings, which they did, and then the stock got sold, not bought, I would believe the bubble was deflating some. But that's not what happened yet. And again, I still, it could be a couple days after the NVIDIA earnings that the market turns around, and that will indicate to me. So I'm kind of on pins and needles, seeing if there's confirmation of early stage bubble.
Yeah, but I mean, but what is the basis to believe that it's a bubble? We've been talking all this time about the revolution, and you have Elon Musk talking about the elimination of work within our lifetimes, hopefully. And now it's no, the whole thing is a bubble that's about to burst.
No, because the bubble isn't in the technology. Any new disruptive, wildly good or at least powerful technology has some sort of a bubble stage. The internet did that too. And then all of a sudden the internet stocks lost 80% of their value. And what were we left with? We were left with the technology. The internet itself still existed. And that'll be the same thing for AI. So when we talk about a bubble, you have to separate that. It's about the maniacal fervor in the stock price and people buying it and not really respecting the fact that things go up and down and things can become people can become overzealous in markets as well. That's what I'm talking about. I think AI, the technology, is here to stay. I just think there's an enthusiasm for the stocks that might be a little too hot.
Well, but I mean, the enthusiasm for capital raising and investment in AI is not subsiding at all. So why would the enthusiasm? And I think it's probably too early for most people to have a real good opinion about who the winners and losers are going to be in this arms race, this AI arms race. So why would the stocks, retreat?
Just because of market positioning, there will be a point where the story won't change. The story is still this wild story and people are going to need AI, but the prices might get ahead of themselves, which something that's interesting too is that when everyone looks at the AI trade from an investment standpoint, at the first 2 years of it, 3 years of however long we've been in it, it's who is making the chips, who is making the AI itself. And that might not be the real investment story over the next 10 years. It might be what companies can incorporate AI and make their own processes more efficient and more productive, like companies like Walmart and John Deere, and even like agriculture companies that are using AI. Those might ultimately be the winners. Banks, although I'm not a big fan of banks right now because I think the economic condition is starting to slow a little bit, but eventually banks are going to be using AI to make their, and again, this all circles back to tons of people losing their jobs within the service industry, which is a potential thing happening here. Again, I'm not certain that's going to happen, but it seems a little scary to me.
So we're finally getting the September jobs number this morning, and it's projected to be for September around 50,000 jobs, which seems like pretty anemic. But again, it's data that we talk about and the market reacts to, even though we don't have a lot of confidence in it. So I'm not sure how much weight to give it in terms of thinking about what's really happening. But how much weight do you give that number, even just sort of directionally?
Personally, I give no weight to it, but I wrote an article about this a couple of weeks ago for a CME group, because the reality of it is that even if every of the thousands and thousands of market participants, the big and small, if every individual knows that this is relatively corrupted data, but then they also think that everybody else is going to trade off this data and market position off this data, then we're forced to jump right in. So it's like almost watching a movie and you suspend disbelief because you believe everyone else is suspending it as well. So we will trade off this number. You mentioned 50,000 as somewhat of an anemic number. I'd be relatively happy with 50,000. I think at a time where our population is kind of stagnant for, again, I'm not even trying to be political about the mass deportations, but we did have an issue over the last few years where labor was coming in. So were criminals, obviously. But that 50,000 might be the new right number for the moment, considering our population. JP Morgan said we lost 50,000 jobs in October when they came out about a week ago. Goldman Sachs said the same thing. So I think 50,000 would be a good thing, not a bad thing.
I'm talking about income inequality because, it's the order of the day for the left all the time, and they seem to be able to leverage class envy effectively, at least in big cities. An interesting post, this is not going to come as a surprise to you, it didn't to me either, but from an editorial writer over at the Amazon Post. And he just posts, for the millionth time, the middle class is, the quote-unquote middle class, is smaller because the upper class is a lot bigger, and the lower class is smaller, too. Looking at the household income, 50,000 or less, 50 to 150, and 150 and up, and what's happened over the last 50 years is those making 150 grand or more in inflation-adjusted dollars, 2024 inflation-adjusted dollars, have gone from 5% of the population to almost 34% of the population. So, 7x increase. Those making between 50 and 150, again, inflation adjusted, have declined from 56% of the population to 45%. Those making 50 or less have declined from 38% of the population to 21%. So what you've seen is significant upward mobility. If you break out the economy in three parts of household income like that. So that's just the data. But something Joe Lonsdale, the great venture capitalist, said about this. The U.S. upper class has been growing a lot, but social media has made those not doing as well angrier about it. Regardless, much in the U.S. is broken. We can and must do a lot better. Must do a lot better job lowering costs and helping the middle and working classes succeed. Just get your reaction to that in this discussion about the distribution of household income.
So there's one thing, okay, we're talking about income, but I think the real story is assets. The top 30% of the people in this country own about 95% of the stock market. Okay, what's happened from when back in 2020, whatever nonsense was going on there, and their solution was to throw $9 trillion additional dollars into the economy. So what did that do? And all the asset holders, the 30 to 40% of the upper class, whatever I'm doing air quotes, everything they own has gone through the roof. Everyone else, all they've got is higher grocery bills. You mentioned wages, and wages are increasing too. But wages increase, people want to think, oh, my standard of living is going to go up, and then they look and the price of beef has doubled, and they realize it hasn't. So, and then you look, social media, without any question, exacerbates that as well. But actually, I do think the 60% non-asset holders have a real beef, because for 10 years, the Fed started telling us why and how they were going to cause inflation, because they needed inflation. I know now they're talking about like, oh, gosh, I don't know what happened, how we got all this inflation. They caused it on purpose to bail out indebted government entities around this country. They had to do it in their mind to monetize that debt. So people being mad is real and is right. And we saw that's why you have socialists winning election. These are people who want to burn it all down. There's nobody who thinks that socialism is the right thing. They're just like, the heck with this. The system isn't working for me, so screw it.
Before we let you go, I did want to get back to Bitcoin, since you brought it up. So Bitcoin is off about 25% in just the last couple of weeks. Does that shake your confidence at all in crypto, or is the belief that, look, you can't fight City Hall and there are just too many big players that are now all in on crypto for it to go anywhere anytime soon?
You know, that's my thesis for owning crypto was broad adoption, particularly on the institutional level. When BlackRock several years ago said they were getting into the space, I got into the space as well. But shaking my confidence in it is a funny question because I don't really have a ton of confidence in the technology at all. Everything is just based on this kind of shared belief that it's going to go up. It's no more. I have no more confidence in Bitcoin than I do in artwork or Beanie Babies or tulips or anything else that the crowd decided was valuable. Now, I'm not even making fun of those things too, because gold you could put into the same category, and gold has continued to be a store of value for thousands of years, despite the fact having very little intrinsic value. So I'm still in Bitcoin, but the fact that a 25% move, that's what this asset does. I'm not even remotely scared about it. By the way, I stopped buying. I know you know that every Wednesday I just had a systematic buy order put in. But about 2 months ago, I stopped with that just because I never wanted my position in crypto to be more than like 2% of my net worth. And because of the huge rally, it got higher than that. So it was just kind of a mathematical calculation on my part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And speaking of that, I mean, the Beanie Babies allowed Ty Warner to buy that nice hotel in Santa Barbara. So, don't go knocking Beanie Babies as an investment.
Knocking Beanie Babies. Absolutely.
That's right. Jim Uriel, host of the Futures Edge podcast, a special contributor to WirePoints, wirepoints.org. Jim, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And Jim joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. You probably know I help business owners fight back against the IRS. But today, I'm talking to those who haven't filed their returns. I know what that feels like. The sleepless nights, the unopened mail, the pit in your stomach every time you see an IRS envelope. You're not lazy. You're overwhelmed. Here's the truth. The IRS feeds on fear. When you hide, they win. When you act, you take back control. I help business owners clean up unfiled returns before the IRS comes knocking. No lectures, no judgment, just a clear plan to get you caught up and protect what you've built. The new tax season is almost here. Don't wait until the IRS decides your future. Decide it yourself. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll show you exactly how to get back in control before tax season takes control of you. Or call us right now at 312-664-6649. That's fightbacknow.com, because freedom starts with filing.
Once again, our Food for the Poor campaign is underway as we help to provide life-saving food to children in Latin America and the Caribbean, where families and communities have little or no access to food, safe water, and the basics of life. The perfect storm of poverty, lack of infrastructure, and destructive natural disasters has made life impossible for many families, which is why we're partnering with Food for the Poor again this year, as we have for so many years now. Food for the Poor, faith-based nonprofit relief organization that works directly with their partners on the ground in Latin America and the Caribbean to operate feeding centers. The relationship they have with the locals in these countries ensures the money we raise during this campaign is used efficiently to get food to the children who need it most. They've been doing this kind of work for 40 years in 17 countries, so they know what they're doing. They've got a track record. They've fed millions of people and provided more than $15 billion in aid. They're reputable and transparent with how they raise and spend their money, and I always encourage people to check it out on Charity Navigator or other rating sites to support the claims that we make here. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. That's the impact your gift can have. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. Again, to make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. Okay, coming up at 7:07. By the way, we're going to be talking to Food for the Poor Rep Paul Jacob at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour to get more information on this year's campaign. But coming up at 7 o'clock, we'll turn our attention to ICE turning its attention to Charlotte. It is now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
The Justice Department has 30 days to comply. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump's given final approval to the resolution Congress passed almost unanimously, compelling the Justice Department to release the Epstein files from the investigation into the undercover or their underage girls' sex trafficking.
It has exceptions, including allowing for the DOJ to redact the identities or personal information of Epstein's victims for ongoing federal investigations. The president taking to Truth Social to reveal he signed it into law, posting, Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try and distract from our amazing victories.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. A Democrat in Congress has been indicted in a COVID funds fraud case. Sheila Sherfulis McCormick is accused of stealing $5 million in the FEMA money and diverting some of it to her 2021 campaign in Florida. Congresswoman Sherfulis McCormick claims she's innocent, telling CBS the indictment is a sham. Fighting has flared up again in Gaza after a ceasefire had halted the war.
The Israeli military's conducted a series of attacks over a 12-hour period. This after its troops came under fire in the southern Gazan city Khan Yunis. The Israel Defense Forces says it responded by striking what it calls Hamas terrorist targets across the Gaza Strip.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. At least 33 Palestinians have been killed. Hamas condemns that as a shocking massacre. A new Fox News poll is critical of both Republicans and Democrats over the government shutdown, and President Trump's approval rating has dropped 5 points down to 41%.
Economically, 52% of voters said inflation is not under control and that groceries, healthcare, utilities, housing, and gas all cost more than a year ago.
Fox's Gernal Scott. An economic report delayed by the shutdown comes out this hour. The September jobs update expected to show an increase in hiring from August. The unemployment rate perhaps remaining 4.3%. We won't get a jobs report for October. Hiring last month will be added to the November update. Its release has been pushed back to the middle of next month. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 42 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Federal health officials say 31 babies in 15 states, including Illinois, have been sickened in a growing outbreak of infantile botulism that's tied to ByHeart infant formula. ByHeart recalled all of its products sold throughout the United States. No deaths have been reported. Health officials say parents and caregivers who have the formula in their homes should stop using it immediately and dispose of the product. Botulism is a rare but serious disease that can cause paralysis and even death. Symptoms can take weeks to develop. Digital IDs have gone live here in Illinois, but libertarians say the move makes it easier for governments to track people. Jim Talamonte has the story.
Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias says as of Wednesday, Illinoisans can add their driver's license or state ID directly to their Apple Wallet.
And this is just the beginning, the first step in bringing mobile IDs to the state of Illinois.
Giannoulias made the announcement in Chicago Tuesday and said the mobile ID program would soon expand to Google and Samsung wallets. Libertarian Party of Illinois Chairman Jim Hume said digital IDs represent an expansion of government power.
It's on a path to kind of create a centralized database of personal information, which of course makes it easier for governments to track everyone's movement.
And an appeals court has paused an injunction restricting ICE agents from use of force. That ruling from the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals says the original injunction by Judge Sarah Ellis was overbroad. However, the court stated that it would possibly support a more tailored preliminary injunction. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Profit University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by Center Guard Plumbing. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, that was a surprise. The HVAC tech just said our furnace apparently has a cracked heat exchanger, and it'll cost thousands.
Oh, you're kidding. He barely looked at it. Now he's pushing a huge repair?
What should we do?
I don't really trust them. We need a second opinion. My brother Mark recommended Air Right Heating and Cooling. I looked them up and they seem legit. Great Google reviews. I'm sure they'd give us an honest assessment. He liked that they checked their carbon monoxide readings so he knows the air they're breathing is safe. And I guess it also gave a sense of how much life was left in their furnace.
I'd love that peace of mind. Plus, why spend a fortune on something we might not even need?
Get a second opinion from Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you and get $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling right now at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
Is your company's cybersecurity ready to handle today's cyber attacks? Some companies never recover due to the fallout. Listen to this. In 2021, a ransomware group called DarkSide gained access to Colonial Pipeline through a compromised password. The impact? 4.4 million paid in ransom. In 2017, Equifax had a massive breach which ended up costing over $700 million in settlements. Large companies from Target, Yahoo, to small businesses, including medical practices, have suffered major losses due to cyber attacks. Many have had to close their doors. Access One is here to protect your business 24/7. Cybersecurity isn't just about IT. It's about protecting your survival and customer trust. If you're concerned about your cybersecurity, get a free baseline cybersecurity assessment from AM 560 sponsor Access One. Call 1-800-654-1555 or fill out the contact form at accessoneinc.com. Access One has been protecting Chicago businesses for 3 decades. That's 1-800-654-1555 or accessoneinc.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Stop and go delays northbound Lakeshore Drive as you make your way towards Hollywood Avenue. Stop and go on the inbound Kennedy as you approach Cumberland Avenue, all because of an accident. So inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange is 29 minutes. Outbound is 27. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office is 29. Outbound is 27 minutes. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 34 minutes. Outbound is 24. The Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange is 23, outbound is 11. And on the southwest side, Engage Park, an accident investigation slows you down both ways on California Avenue at 51st Street. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today we'll start with some patchy morning fog, then it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 51. Tonight stays mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will be quite cloudy with a high of 50. Saturday will bring a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So Pope Leo has now weighed in on the immigration issue again. specifically asked about the statement that was made by the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops, that supercut we played a couple of days ago and discussed in some detail, with several of the bishops tackling a portion of a 6 or 7 minute message that was posted online. Here's what Pope Leo had to say about the statements made by the Catholic Conference of Bishops and his views more generally.
U.S. bishops have made a very strong statement about the deportation and detention of migrants. What do you think of it? And they kind of said that you've got their back. Were you behind that?
Well, I've made some statements about that already. I appreciate very much what the bishops have said. I think it's a very important statement. I would invite, especially all Catholics, but people of goodwill, to listen carefully to what they said. I think we have to look for ways of treating people humanely, treating people with the dignity that they have. If people are in the United States illegally, there are ways to treat that. There are courts. There's a system of justice. I think there are a lot of problems in the system. No one has said that the United States should have open borders. I think every country has a right to determine who and how and when people enter. But when people are living good lives, and many of them for 10, 15, 20 years, to treat them in a way that is extremely disrespectful, to say the least, and there's been some violence, unfortunately. I think that the bishops have been very clear in what they said, and I think that I would just invite all people in the United States to listen to them. Thank you.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line is that it's essentially a middling statement. No one has said that there should be open borders. Well, actually, Your Excellency, people have said that. And even if some people haven't said it, there's many more people who've acted in furtherance of it. We had that actually for 4 years under the previous administration. So no one, I mean, maybe no one in terms of the Catholic Conference of Bishops is explicitly saying open borders, or that the United States doesn't have a right to protect its borders or establish a regime by which people can enter this country legally and exclude those who don't attempt to enter the country legally. But that's not to say no one has said that, which is what you said. So let's be real clear on our language, since you want to wade in on this topic. Number two, this allegation of people being treated disrespectfully. I'm sure someone can come up with an instance, given the interaction of federal law enforcement with, at this juncture, hundreds of thousands of people, many of whom are in this country illegally, or they're coming into contact with people in this country legally in pursuit of people in this country illegally. So I'm sure there's been a coarse word or two, particularly given the reaction, the organized reaction by the professional agitators financed by the left to ISIS presence everywhere, all the time. But the general suggestion that there is a systemic, to use their word, lack of respect for human dignity, I don't believe is true. And there isn't any evidence that's really been provided to support that claim. What's been provided is just a repetition of the accusation. Because there has been quote-unquote violence, because there have been uncomfortable moments. Well, give me a moment and let's look at the context of that moment. How many of those uncomfortable moments, how many instances in which ICE officers had to use force were the result, those incidents and that use of force, the result of resisting arrest, the result of attacking ICE officers, which has been well documented because there have been so many arrested, including just this past weekend outside of Bridgeview, the Bridgeview ICE facility, for illegal activity, violence by professional agitators and useful idiot protesters.
Now, we are being told to stay back. We're going to follow those rules, of course, but you can see that this really is a stressful situation. Some of those officers back there taking those protesters' gas masks that fell off during the arrest, and we are seeing these people push back from the law enforcement officers. We spoke with some protesters earlier who were very frustrated with local police officers as well as state police officers, what they feel like as being helping the ICE officers. And of course, this arrest happening right here as we speak, and you can hear the crowd screaming shame and shame. But of course, these officers say that this is all for the protection of the people, which is why we have seen these designated protest zones actually put in place. And you can see there is a huge swath of media on my right as well. We've seen at least 3 people arrested, and we're seeing them being taken away into that Cook County Sheriff's office.
That was News Nation reporting, by the way. So, Pontiff, those people arrested, were they respecting the human dignity of law enforcement officers? Or are they exempt from being treated with human dignity? Huh. It's so bad in Broadview that the Broadview Village Council, Karina Thompson, who's been, a local mayor trying to make some political hay out of the spotlight on Broadview. Karina Thompson and the city council had their most recent village board meeting remotely, like by Zoom, so that people couldn't physically show up and address the council. And it's not because of, conservatives coming to support ICE officers. It's because of leftists coming to demand unfettered access to disrupt ICE's activities in and out of that facility.
Due to safety protocols, it's best that we do it virtually to protect the integrity of the people that live and work in this village.
Broadview's mayor citing recent threats for why she's declared a civil emergency, including a September 4th telephoned bomb threat against Village Hall and a death threat made against her October 14th.
I will say that I stand by every decision that has been made as it relates to the village of Broadview.
I mean, it's not safe. My kids scared to go to school. I mean, it's just a lot of drama. We got the helicopters everywhere.
Recent meetings have turned heated, with the village facing criticism for restricting protest hours at the ICE processing center, where last Friday more than 20 people were arrested and 4 officers injured. Mayor Thompson says protesters attempted to storm Village Hall Saturday night.
Protesters attempting to storm Village Hall, that doesn't sound like the righteous, peaceful protesters standing for people's human dignity, does it, Pope Leo? U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops? Huh. Oh, and speaking of human dignity, what would you like to say to the family of this teenager in Plano, Texas? Your Holiness.
And Duarte, meanwhile, remains at details from Plano police. According to investigators, that woman was hit at least twice with a hammer, and detectives did find that hammer as well as duct tape and other items at the crime scene they're not ready to reveal.
It's scary, actually.
Frequent users of Bob Woodruff Park in Plano are uneasy after a woman was attacked by a stranger with a hammer late Thursday afternoon.
We know lots of people that are out here, so if we see somebody we don't know, then we avoid that area.
According to Plano police, the woman was jogging along the path at Shiloh Road just south of Park Boulevard around 5 p.m. Thursday when 17-year-old Sergio Noe de Nova Duarte approached and violently attacked her with a hammer.
Initially, what got the suspect away from her is that she fought this suspect off of her.
Officer Andre Smith says the victim was hit at least twice and suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Duarte ran off but was caught later that night. And Duarte, meanwhile, remains at the Collin County Detention Facility. I can tell you also that ICE has held him on a immigration hold.
Oh, and by the way, he's here illegally. Comments for that teenager's family? That teenager and her family, I should say. Thankfully, she survived. I want to hear the human dignity lecture. How about for an elementary school girl in Boise, Idaho? Elementary school girl struck and killed by a truck as she attempted to walk across an intersection. The driver, Elvin Ramos Caballero, had an outstanding federal warrant involving ICE. The Boise Police Department contacted ICE, which took custody of him. The family of that elementary school girl who was run over by somebody in this country illegally. Can you lecture me about human dignity again? About violence? You want me to continue? Tom Homan's the bad guy. Tom Homan and ICE, they're the bad guys, right?
We already found over 30,000 of these kids. You know, like 3 weeks ago, we're at 24,000. Now we're over 30,000. Wow. And we're going to keep working until we find every one of these kids. President Trump's saving lives every day. Most secure border in the history of the nation. Less fentanyl killing Americans. Less sex trafficking women and children. And we're finding children that Biden administration wasn't even looking for. And we're the bad guys? It's disgusting.
How many human trafficked kids, has the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops found and returned to parents or at least to some safety away from those exploiting them? How many? Again, tell me about human dignity, violence, exploitation. I'm sorry, who's the practitioner of which? Byron in the western suburbs.
Hey, Dan. You're never going to hear the media say ICE officer, husband and father of 3, honors his oath by doing his duty. And as long as we're talking about police, why not say, why don't we ask the 260 plus people murdered so far this year what they think about ICE and the Chicago Police Department methods? Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Byron. ICE arrested a Uzbeki illegal alien wanted an alleged terrorist who was driving an 18-wheeler in Kansas. He had been given a CDL by the state of Pennsylvania. 31-year-old Akhor Bazarov had an arrest warrant in Uzbekistan since 2022 for being a member of a terrorist organization and is accused of distributing terrorist propaganda calling for jihad online and recruiting terrorists. He was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in February of 2023. Now he's got a CDL and issued by the state of Pennsylvania. Is he one of those members of the huddled masses yearning to breathe free, Your Holiness? Catholic Conference of Bishops? Sanctuary city and state politicians? Oh, by the way, no one supports open borders. By definition, sanctuary state and city politicians do. So again, who are the practitioners of violence and exploitation and indignity? Corey in Woodlawn.
Morning, Dad. You know, what sickens me the most about this is that liberals will literally fight to keep America unsafe. There's a gentleman that bought a storage container in Colorado with enough fentanyl to kill millions of Colorado's citizens. And this individual was picked up. The ICE picked up this individual in April, and he was in custody. And that was his fentanyl in that storage container. So I don't like the fact that the liberals are exposing. I do like the fact that the liberals are exposing themselves on this. They don't want to keep our country safe. Trump can literally lock up Lucifer, and the liberals will be down there protesting and release him back into the community.
Yes. Yes. Thanks for the call, Corey. Ken in Plainfield.
Yeah, I think with the Pope and the bishops, the big issue, or I don't know, issue is that they're trying to replace the falling Catholic population with immigrants. I applied for the deaconate program in the Diocese of Joliet 7 years ago, something like that. And I wasn't accepted. I figured because I'm an old truck driver with, out of college degree, but I was told by the deacon at my church they're looking for people with English with a second language because they want to recruit all the legal and illegal immigrants to fill the church pews back up again. Because as we both know, being Catholic, they're emptying quite rapidly.
Interesting point. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, it's great. The Catholic Church is taking the same approach as the government. It's real inspired. And by that, I'm referencing this report out of Charlotte, since ICE is surging resources in Charlotte and getting the same treatment from the Charlotte politicians they got from the Chicago politicians, of course. More than 30,000 students enrolled in Charlotte public schools were absent Monday because ICE appeared in the city. That's 20% of the entire student body. So why would you be absent from school if you're not in the country illegally? Not that they're going to go after the kids in the classrooms. That's just the hysteria that has been fueled by the left. But the point is, that's what parents think as they watch legacy media and legacy media that's Spanish language media too, that does the same thing, the same demonization racket. 30,000 kids, 20% of the entire student body. Well, so it's just like we talked about CPS. They're replacing families that have left because they need to keep the head count up to keep the tax money flowing for their salaries and pension benefits. Chicago, Charlotte, same deal. And by the way, what does that number say in terms of the actual number of people in this country illegally? I think the guesstimates might be lower, although there's obviously a lot of progress being made. Jerry in the Western Burbs.
Good morning, Dan. How you doing today?
Good.
My question would be, how much do you think of that money that was given to Catholic Charities, what was the shave that had to go back up to the Vatican? We spent millions and millions of dollars between Catholic Charities supporting the ingress of these people. What was the Vatican's shave on that?
Thanks for the call, Jerry. Tim in Woodstock.
Hi, good morning, Dan. And I'm sorry if you already covered this a bit, but apparently Mary Ahern is reporting that last Wednesday, Governor Pritzker had a private meeting with Pope Leo, supposedly on Chicago's immigration policy, or the Trump administration's policies, and has extended an invitation for him to come to Illinois, which, and the other, I'd love to hear you comment on that. But on
Pritzker meeting with Pope Leo?
Yeah, last Wednesday.
Yeah,
apparently.
I'm not sure that was about immigration policy or the euthanasia legislation or abortion. I'm not sure it was any of that. I think it has more to do with something that is Chicago-centric. I think it has more to do with the change in ownership of the. I mean, this sounds crazy, but I'm pretty confident about this. The change in ownership of the Chicago White Sox. It was announced a few weeks back that Reinsdorf is selling the team to Ishbia, the Ishbia family. That's big mortgage company, right? They own the Phoenix Suns. They're building a little chalet, shall we say, in Winnetka. That's caused a little stir. I think it has to do with that, and not so much these other policies where there may be some agreement, and certainly on euthanasia and abortion disagreement.
Okay. what annoys me about Pope Leo is he missed perfect opportunity to clarify what ICE is doing and to distinguish between the people with felonies and the people they happen to catch, and give us examples of who exactly is being treated humanely instead. And he doesn't caution Catholics at all against participating in violence against American citizens who are just trying to do their job every day. And that's what's really annoying. It sounded like something you would get on a mainstream news network, just
Totally agree. Yeah, thanks for the call, Tim. Totally agree. You know what it sounded like? It sounded like an abridged version of the statement that was put out by the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops. That's what it sounded like, which is a lot of mealy-mouthed buzzwording and inaccuracies, repetition of accusations without foundation. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas and proud customer of Signature Bank. We are a local family-owned business that is known for free refills on all sizes of popcorn, soft drinks, and ices. With over 9,000 heated recliners in 16 locations, we marry the traditions of the past with today's state-of-the-art technology. Throw in a 30-minute guarantee and an after-movie mint, and you have the perfect night out. As we strive to make every guest our priority, Signature Bank does the same with their customers. The team at Signature Bank is interested in taking my company forward. They have all the resources and solutions of the big banks, but they customize their offerings to meet my business needs. The customer always comes first with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text 24/7. What does Pope Leo have to do with the sale of the White Sox? It's not. He doesn't have anything to do with the sale of the White Sox, but I think there was an opportunity to meet certain people, and I think there's been a request being made of him for when there is a new stadium that is built in the South Loop, and so on and so forth. So, I can't really go into more detail than that, but that's my understanding of the situation. Anyway, coming up at 7:37, we're going to talk about our Food for the Poor, a holiday partnership. Get some more details. Paul Jacobs from Food for the Poor will be joining us to discuss. That's 7:37. Stay tuned for that. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. An appeals court is siding with the Trump administration in a case over immigration protests here in the Chicago area. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
A lower court ruling restricting when federal immigration agents can deploy tear gas on anti-ICE protesters is on hold. The Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals granting an emergency stay requested by the Trump administration. The Justice Department argued the judge's order requiring immigration agents to give warnings before deploying tear gas and other weapons amounted to micromanaging law enforcement in Chicago. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Federal prosecutors have charged a man with terrorism for allegedly setting a woman on fire on a Chicago train. According to an affidavit, Lawrence Reed approached the woman as she sat with her back to him on the Blue Line train Monday night. He allegedly doused her with gasoline from a plastic bottle before lighting her on fire. Reed is charged with committing a terrorist attack against a mass transportation system. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
John Thompson here, and I'm with attorney Bert Hochberg from the law firm of Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck. We're talking about divorce arbitration. This is not really a new, or is it a new, innovative way to go through divorce?
Arbitration has been around for decades. It's completely legit and available to resolve divorce cases. The litigants and their lawyers sign an arbitration agreement. They identify what the issues are, and we set up dates, and we determine what experts and witnesses there may be. Arbitration is a hearing, a trial that is intended to finish a case efficiently with limited appeal, with a binding decision, and it's confidential, so it has some great characteristics.
I think it's a unique alternative to divorce. For more information, please visit sdflaw.com and type Bert Hochberg into the search box. That's sdflaw.com or call direct 773-255-6150.
Do you know what time it is?
To be honest, it's 1:30.
Why did you say to be honest?
To be honest, the cherry wood of the colonial bedroom at Penny Mustard reminds me of George Washington,
who famously said, "I cannot tell a lie."
To be honest, that's correct.
That's appropriate, since the colonial bedroom is fit for a president.
The solid wood design has an authentic old-timey feel.
To be honest, it also features forever tight bed brackets and drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
So you can't tell a lie?
To be honest, I cannot.
Okay, in that case, did you eat my turkey sub out of the fridge in the break room?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
It wasn't turkey. It was ham.
The majestic colonial bedroom featuring a king panel bed with drawers, 8-drawer dresser, panel mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $13,445 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
The biggest time of the year for stores is during the Christmas season. And if you deal in collector coins, the main source for inventory is from people like you. We want to have our showcases fully stocked before Christmas. Last Christmas, gold was the highest ever recorded in its 5,000-year run. We don't always know if precious metals will go up or down. We're saying that if you don't appreciate that collection Grandpa left, you may want to at least find out what you can get for it. Fox Valley Coins is the trusted place where people come to buy and sell their precious metals, rare coins, and paper money. We're especially interested in purchasing now through the first week of December. And we'll still be buying after we get back from the Christmas break, but we need to purchase now. Fox Valley Coins is located 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 on the Naperville-Warrenville border. We'll be closed Christmas Eve through Monday, January 4th, celebrating Jesus' birth with family and for year-end inventory. Merry Christmas from Fox Valley Coins. Family-owned integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Your local State Farm agent Anthony DeGrotto combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. You can combine your home, auto, and life insurance to not only save you money, but give you the peace of mind you've been looking for. Anthony DeGrotto is your go-to agent in Chicagoland. He and his team will work for you to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Combine your home, auto, and life insurance today. Anthony DeGrotto will help you mix and match things perfectly. His State Farm office is a top pick 2024 Daily Herald Reader's Choice Award winner. He's a proud supporter of Tunnel to Towers and like-minded as you. His State Farm agency is currently looking to add members at their Roselle office. Call Anthony at 847-895-1500 today or visit DeGrottoSF.com. That's DeGrottoSF.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Stop and go delays on the Kennedy inbound as you approach Cumberland Avenue, all because of a collision. And now the inbound side from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange is 37 minutes. Outbound is 45. You're jammed on the northbound Tri-State approaching the Eisenhower. And on the inbound Eisenhower at 25th Avenue, there's an accident. So we've got 38 minutes inbound from Wolf to the old post office. Outbound is 34. The inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 39 minutes. Outbound 22. Stop and go inbound on the Bishop Ford approaching the Dan Ryan. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange is 26 minutes. Outbound is 11. This report is a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect patchy morning fog followed by thick cloud cover with a high of 51. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will bring considerable cloudiness and a high of 50. By Saturday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
They need our help. So really the call to action is, how are you going to help? And in what way? And it's always the story of the widow's mites, and you give what you can. But I don't think that we can underestimate that it's not a question of just giving what you can. It's just that if you can stop long enough to not walk by the problem, to actually understand it enough, to acknowledge that people live like this, and to know that somebody has to step up and do something, to help give it some organization, to help give it some relief, to help it build for the future. That's what we are trying to do here at Food for the Poor. And I think this is where I think we have to understand that we may be that organization that with some level of authority can share that experience and say, look, this is what's needed. And I always come back to the faith in action part of what our Christian ministry is all about. You can't just say the words on a Sunday. How do you live by the words?
Yeah, I really like that phrase, don't walk past the problem. I mean, that's what we've been talking about all morning with respect to violence in Chicago after these horrific incidents on the Blue Line on the south side outside that elementary school. Don't walk past the problem. That's why we're partnering with Food for the Poor again this holiday season. Again, Food for the Poor has been doing the work that was described there, operating feeding centers in Latin America and the Caribbean for 40 years, 17 countries, millions of people they fed around the world, more than $15 billion with a B dollars in aid. And here's how the program works on our end, just as a reminder here. Your gift of $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. That's the impact your gift can have. To make a gift in any amount, as you heard there, do what you can. To make a gift in any amount, just call 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. And again, we're doing the business benefactor program like we have in previous years, which is a great way for businesses to participate and make an impact, as well as help us help you make an impact for your business. If you make a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor, AM 560 will give you 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves Monday to Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., prime broadcasting hours. So that's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio. So at the same time, you're marketing your business to our upwardly mobile listeners. You'll be providing life-saving food for more than 50 children in Latin America and the Caribbean. To become a business benefactor, you just call our general manager. His name is John Gallagher. He's standing by. 847-472-8950 is his number. That's John Gallagher at 847-472-8950 to enroll in the Business Benefactor Program. And you can join, for example, Humane Indiana, which has enlisted in our Business Benefactor Program. Thank you to Humane Indiana. And in case you don't know Humane Indiana, they believe whenever pets are in distress, the people who love them are probably too. They take care of the pets and people who love them. That's the mission of Humane Indiana, which is obviously a worthy one. For more on this year's holiday campaign with Food for the Poor, pleased to be joined by Paul Jacobs, who's the radio manager and on-air fundraiser for Food for the Poor. Paul, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, Dan, it is great to be with you, and I love how you phrase that. It is our holiday partnership, and we have to be reminded that we are exactly 7 days away from Thanksgiving. 7 days away from a time where we kind of step into the lives of our friends and our family. It may be someone who's marginalized or alone this holiday, and we kind of invite people in, right? We welcome them into our homes, into our families. And this is an opportunity, well, you may not be able to welcome a mom who's living in the remote areas in Guatemala and cannot feed her children, or maybe a school that has children that need to eat every day so that they can be educated and can learn, or maybe even a family that has been devastated by Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica, and not only has food been cut off, but also water. But you can invite them in through generous gifts. We had a gift from Lisa from St. Charles, and I love this. $300, 4 children fed. And Lisa just said, every little bit helps, and it's a great cause. So with 7 days until Thanksgiving, can we just take a moment and be generous to a family we may never meet this side of heaven? I'm really excited about this campaign this year, a campaign that we've done for years. I mean, Dan, you've been with us for close to a decade, probably longer. And every year we see people step up and say yes to families that need help.
You know, it's interesting you brought up Jamaica. I was just going to ask about particular spots of need this year. I mean, some are sort of systemic spots of need, like Haiti, poor countries in Central America. But Jamaica particularly this year because of that natural disaster.
Yeah, well, it's personal for us here at Food for the Poor because, as you know, Dan, the Food for the Poor's mission began 43 years ago in Kingston, Jamaica. Both my parents are from Kingston, Jamaica. It's personal. Our president and CEO, Ed Rain, who you just heard in the opening segment, his wife is from Kingston, Jamaica. He's worked in Jamaica for 35 years before coming to Food for the Poor. This is personal for us. And I just got back from Jamaica after spending 6 days with our disaster response team and seeing the needs for myself, meeting mothers, meeting families like Nikisha, a mom, 4 children living in a hollowed-out shipping container because her home was completely decimated and destroyed. No electricity, no food, and no running water. But through this program, we are able to help mothers like that and so many others across the 15 countries that Food for the Poor serves.
Yeah, and just I mentioned it at the outset, but I think it's always helpful to get the details in terms of how you're able to do what most organizations are not, because you've been doing it so long and you have relationships, but you also have infrastructure so you can get to places that maybe even, foreign governments can't get to in terms of helping people and providing food and safe water.
We have a secret weapon, Dan. It's the local church. It's pastors on the ground, priests, local parishes that Food for the Poor partners with on a regular basis. So when that gift, like Lisa's $300 gift, or Humane Indiana's gift of $2,500 as a business benefactor gift, providing for 33 children, we then turn to the local church. We turn to partners that are vetted on the ground, doing what they say they're going to do and helping people that are in desperate need. That's how Food for the Poor, with just a few hundred staff members, 350 here in Florida, as well as another 150 in Jamaica, how we're able to cover such a large swath of area for so many, the body of Christ.
And I assume you have goals and with sort of rolling goals. I mean, this is not something where you take a day off. I get that. But I mean, do you have goals that you can describe just to give us a sense of the scale here in terms of what Food for the Poor does?
Well, absolutely. First of all, we're looking right now at probably tens of thousands of families on the ground that Food for the Poor is working alongside local churches and partners in Jamaica alone. When I was in Jamaica for the last week with our teams, we went to several communities where it was nothing to see 500 to see 1,000, or I think the smallest was just over 100 families in a very small little cottage area that came out to get distribution. It is a mammoth task, but it is one that we can take one child, one family, one community at a time. And I wouldn't want anyone to kind of like drive their car off the Dan Ryan and say, "Oh my gosh, that's just too much. I can't handle it." No, you can do what you can do. And like Lisa's gift of 300, that's 4 children. Michael from Chicago, he just gave online at 560theanswer.com, and he gave 150. That's 2 children. Sue from Downers Grove gave $50. The point being is that whether you can help by a business benefactor gift, saving 33 children's lives, or just $150 saving 2, every bit counts. And I must say, in the cases of Jamaica and many of the countries we serve, every second counts as well.
And just using Jamaica as a case study, the relationship with the government, in addition to the churches, I mean, you guys also have to have sort of standing with the local authorities as well, I presume, just so you don't run into static.
Interesting enough, that has probably been one of the big surprises. I shouldn't say surprise, but one of the big reliefs for us. Food for the Poor has become the backbone for the national relief effort in Jamaica. The Jamaican government has given basically the permission for the Jamaican Defense Force, their army, and their constabulary force, which is the local police, the ability to aid and assist us. We have the local military packing food kits, close to 3,000 food kits on a daily basis in our Jamaica warehouse. We have the Jamaican Defense Force escorting us in with vehicles and equipment that we necessarily don't have to get through some very rough terrain and some very remote areas. And the local government says, we just need all of the NGOs to understand that Food for the Poor has been here for more than 4 decades. So if they are the logistics partner, we want everything to funnel through them because they've been doing it so well for so long.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the real sort of value-added expertise you have, not just the relationships, but I'm sure every country presents different logistical challenges, right, and different intergovernmental challenges, and you guys can navigate this in ways that most other NGOs cannot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so when everything happened on the 28th of October in Jamaica, and it's very similar in Jamaica as it is in Haiti, as it is in Guatemala or Honduras, where we have our operations and partners, they recognize the longstanding partnerships that enable Food for the Poor to work across 10 focus areas. In this particular case, with this holiday campaign, it's food and water, making sure the basics of life are achieved to families that need it. I mean, it's the tip of the spear right now to make sure in these next 90 days in Jamaica that we can save lives, save children. One of the things that was really striking was, going to a few distributions throughout Jamaica when I was there last week. We went to schools that were built by Food for the Poor donors, much like your listeners, that have helped fund those schools and build them up so the children can get an education. Well, those schools are completely hollowed out. They're destroyed. But the people are there. The guidance counselors, the teachers, they're still there and making sure that the children in that community are getting the help they need. Ms. Brown is a guidance counselor at Crawford Primary School, where we were just a week and a half ago. And she has 500 students in the aftermath of the hurricane that she went door to door to meet with the families, to check on the children. And now that they're getting regular distributions through Food for the Poor and through our partners, that they know that once the school's built back, they know that they can come back and get their life back on track, education, and get really, some normalcy back in their lives.
Good stuff. To make a gift of any amount to Food for the Poor, 844-862-4673, or online at 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor, as Mike from Chicago did, to become a business benefactor. And again, that's $2,500 donation. AM 560 provides you 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves in prime broadcast hours. And the contact there is John Gallagher, who's our station's general manager, and you can reach him at 847-472-8950. Again, his number, 847-472-8950, to join Humane Indiana and other business benefactors in this great program. Paul Jacobs, Food for the Poor, thanks so much for joining us as always, and we look forward to helping you help others in Jamaica and across Latin America and the Caribbean.
Thank you, Dan, and happy Thanksgiving to all your listeners. God bless you.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Networks, streaming services, retail chains, and tech giants are all adding plus to their names. But where did the concept originate? We may be biased, but we think these big wigs found their inspiration for plus at Hassellus Mattress. Hassellus showrooms are employee-free. Give your mattress a try with no pushy sales guy. Plus, our 35 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393. Plus, unbeatable prices on Tempur-Pedic. Plus, free next-day delivery and setup. Plus, free haul away and disposal of your old mattress. Plus, 60-month interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic with approved credit. Plus, a $300 MasterCard gift card with your Tempur-Pedic mattress. Plus, a ruggedly handsome spokesman with a smooth radio voice. Get all this, plus a whole lot more when you shop at Hassellus Mattress. Or maybe we should change our name to Hassellus Plus. Nah. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at hassellus.com.
Let me take a moment to talk about my friends at QC Kinetics. They're helping so many listeners regain their mobility free from joint pain. Does this sound like you, where every time you move, it's a reminder of what hurts and a reminder of how far you've drifted from the life you once had? Well, relief is closer than you think, and it doesn't have to come from surgery. At QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli and her team tap into your body's own regenerative power using natural healing factors that help restore and repair damaged tissue, reduce inflammation, and relieve pain at its source. So stop masking the pain. Let QC Kinetics help you regain what pain took away. And as we just recently celebrated Veterans Day, QC Kinetics is giving back to our heroes. Veterans get $500 off their treatment. And for every non-veteran who starts care now, QC Kinetics will donate $500 to the Wounded Warrior Project. It's a great time to book your free consultation to learn how QC Kinetics can help you. Call 312-827-6261. The number again, 312-827-6261. Once more, 312-827-6261. And tell them I sent you when you call. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Bob Chavato, owner of Go Exceed and a customer of Signature Bank. By leveraging AI and machine learning, we provide data management solutions for corporations to save time and money managing their cellular devices. While we rely on machines to help us run our business, we believe personal relationships are essential. This is why we chose Signature Bank. Having a banking partner who understands our background, our business, and our priorities is fundamental to our success. Any bank can provide basic services, but having a bank that you can trust, one that looks out for you and treats your business like its own, that's irreplaceable.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you tired of tech headaches slowing your business down? Unique Computing Solutions has been the go-to IT team for businesses in Illinois and Northwest Indiana for nearly 30 years. Your systems should be running smoothly, your data secured, and your communications streamlined. Visit our website today at uniquecomputingsolutions.com. That's uniquecomputingsolutions.com. uniquecomputingsolutions.com. Your IT challenges solved.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk Epstein files, what comes next, including possibly the arrest of the Clintons if they don't comply with James Comer's subpoena, so he said. We'll do that with Andy McCarthy, former Chief Assistant U.S. Attorney, contributing editor to National Review, as you know. But at 8:08, we have the gentleman who had the Boston Tea Party moment in North Lawndale when property tax bills came out. Richard Townsell, Executive Director at the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, will join us to talk about the 100% increase in property taxes in Lawndale and what's happening to his community. That's at 8:08. It is now 8 o'clock on AM 560 WIND.
This is a Fox News alert. A surge in hiring. I'm Dave Anthony. We just got that in a jobs report long delayed by the government shutdown and much better than expected for September.
Coming in at 119,000. 119,000. Wow. The estimate was 50,000.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni.
The unemployment rate, 4.4%. The estimate was 4.3%.
We won't get an unemployment rate for October, though. That data wasn't collected during the shutdown, but hiring was. So the jobs numbers then will be added to the ones created this month and released in a report in the middle of December. One other related story, Verizon is going to cut a lot of jobs, planning to lay off 13,000 plus workers. Back to the shutdown. A Fox News poll has President Trump's approval rating falling to 41%, while more than 6 in 10 disapprove of Republicans and Democrats in Congress, and more than half those surveyed are worried about the economy and inflation. President Trump has signed the Epstein Files resolution,
accusing Democrats of sitting on these files for years. This is what he posted on Truth Social. Do not forget the Biden administration did not turn over a single file or page related to Democrat Epstein, nor did they ever even speak about him. Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try to distract from our amazing victories.
Fox's Doug Luzada. The resolution compels the Justice Department to release files from the Epstein underage girls sex trafficking scheme, though some documents might be held back as the investigation continues. Here's Attorney General Pam Bondi.
There's new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward.
Washington National Cathedral will fill up soon for a funeral this morning for former Vice President Dick Cheney, who died earlier this month at age 84. Former President George W. Bush will speak, paying tribute to his VP. Former President Biden will also attend, along with 4 ex-vice presidents. President Trump will not go. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. It's a cloudy, damp, and drizzly day. That should end, though, this afternoon, highs reaching 51 degrees. A Chicago man is facing a terrorism charge after allegedly setting a woman on fire on a Chicago train earlier this week. Fox's Chanley Painter has the details.
Police say the 26-year-old victim was riding the Blue Line train in Chicago around 9 p.m. when 50-year-old Lawrence Reed allegedly approached her from behind, removed the cap from a bottle of liquid, and then poured it all over the victim's head and body. The woman attempted to fight off Reed, and then she ran, but Reed eventually caught up with her. Police say that after igniting the bottle and then he dropped it, he used it to set the victim on fire. Prosecutors also confirming that Reed has an extensive criminal history, including a previous aggravated arson charge with connection to a fire in 2020. And if convicted, Reed faces up to life in prison.
Meanwhile, the victim is still in the hospital. She's listed in critical condition. The suspect reportedly shouting that he was guilty multiple times during a court hearing yesterday. Health officials are warning of a new mutated flu strain that's spreading quickly. The new variant is known as subclade K, and it's a variant of type A flu. Symptoms of the new strain include fever, cough, sore throat, headaches, nausea, and muscle and body aches. Health officials say getting a flu vaccine is the best way to protect yourself from the illness. And if you do find yourself feeling ill, officials say antivirals are effective and available if they're started quickly. They remind you to stay away from others to prevent the virus from spreading. This news update is a service of Quick Delivery Service. When you need same-day delivery, when you need the fastest service, when you need a last-minute delivery, go to quickdelivery.com and get a quote right now. That's quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes, but time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
More people were shopping at Walmart in recent months. Its earnings and revenue topped expectations, and it's raising its outlook for the year. Though lower and middle income customers are pulling back, Walmart says it's seeing more shoppers with households making more than $100,000 a year. Walmart says it will move from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ next month. Walmart shares are down more than 1%. Wall Street will be reacting today to the September employment report postponed by the government shutdown. The October report won't be released because there isn't sufficient data. It will be included in the November report on December 16th, though that is after the Fed's December 9th and 10th meeting. NVIDIA's quarter blew past estimates. The stock's up 5%. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Scott Jennings explains the differences between right and left.
It has been maddening to me to see the Democratic Party, the liberal movement, the radical progressives, turn on Israel over the last couple of years. What distinguishes us from the radical left? The ability to tell the difference between right and wrong.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer. Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Honey, why does it take you so long to get ready?
Oh, because I've got one tiny sink. I'm trying to balance makeup on the back of the toilet, and the mirror's always fogged up.
Sounds like a circus act.
Exactly. And I perform every morning.
At Forever Remodeling, we create bathrooms that fit your life, not the other way around. From extra storage to spa-like showers and timeless finishes, we make your mornings easier. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
Did you know a will alone does not keep your family out of court when you die? The court still has to approve your will, but get a living trust, and your estate can be settled clearly without issue. Talk to the attorneys at Naumann & Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee, no surprises, no hourly rate. With decades of experience, they know the law and offer a free consultation. Contact Naumann & Associates in Elk Grove Village, nalawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say micro. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
Looking for some hope? Listen to Leading the Way with Dr. Michael Youssef on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. Weekday mornings starting at 8.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Inbound on the Eden from Lake Cook to Montrose, 17 minutes. Outbound is 24. The Kennedy, real slow inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, 46 minutes. Outbound is 52. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office is 42 minutes. Outbound is 36. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 43 minutes. Outbound 28. You've got inbound delays on the Bishop Ford approaching the Dan Ryan. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 31 minutes. Looking good on the outbound side at 11. There's an accident investigation on the southwest side in Gage Park on California Avenue, both ways at 51st Street to slow you down. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today we'll start with some patchy morning fog, then it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 51. Tonight stays mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will be quite cloudy with a high of 50. Saturday will bring a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So earlier this week, when residents in Chicago started receiving their property tax bills, there was some sticker shock, as has been widely reported, and we've discussed, spent a significant time discussing this week. The majority black neighborhoods in Chicago, places like Inglewood, North Lawndale, West Garfield Park, took a hammering. 80%, 100%, 133% average tax increase, property tax increases, respectively, in those neighborhoods. And Richard Townsell, the executive director of the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, had a sort of Howard Beale moment, and I say that positively. I've tried to instigate many in the direction of property tax revolts over the years. Hosted a little bonfire of the property tax bills in North Lawndale and said this.
My property taxes went up 75.86%. And so
Richard Townsell of North Lawndale has a friend who saw his jump 237%.
My wife and I, we had a budget meeting last week as we were looking at this. You know, does that mean maybe we don't take the vacation we thought we were going to take?
Thank you all for coming. A frustration that this weekend led to this bill burning, led by the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, which he is executive director.
It was a Boston Tea Party kind of moment, where it's like taxation without representation. What do we do about this? Not just whine about it.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Richard Townsell, the executive director of the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. Mr. Townsell, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having us on.
So how was the little property tax bill burning party you had received in the neighborhood?
It was a fun moment, cathartic of sorts, because we wanted to do something about it that, you know, have people deal with the anger that they felt. And so we had different testimonials of folks who, one lady, Pam Bell, who's one of our homeowners, her tax bill went from a vacant lot that we developed into a home from $0 to $6,000 was her bill.
And the response you've heard from the city, I'm sure, is that, well, we've, it's the triennial assessment, and we've seen a reduction in property taxes of about $130 million in the downtown business district because of commercial vacancies and thus reductions in assessed valuation of those properties. And now it's being visited upon the neighborhoods, residential neighborhoods. And so they sort of are offering that as a shoulder shrug. There's nothing we can do about it except put together a payment plan where you can pay your property tax bill over the course of the next year.
Yeah, it's infuriating to see neighborhoods that have historically been disinvested, neighborhoods that were kind of the flashpoints for contract buying, redlining. And now that, we have done some work in the neighborhood and others, now we get hit with 100% increases. We should not be bearing the brunt of what's happened downtown in three neighborhoods. And I would dare say I question their data. I wonder if other neighborhoods are experiencing it as well. They've used these 3 neighborhoods as their justification, I guess, but I'd love to know what all 77 neighborhoods, what's going up, because they're saying there's an average increase of like 16.7% across the city. I'd like to see data on every single neighborhood, because I don't know anyone whose property taxes aren't soaring the way ours is.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get that sort of transparency from Fritz Kagi in the assessor's office, right? I mean, you have to have the data, so make it publicly accessible.
Yep, for everybody to see it, and then we can. I don't trust Fox holding the alarm code to the hen house. I just don't at all.
Well, have you talked to your alder persons, the 5th floor, the county assessor's office? I mean, who do you want to address and get explanations from?
Well, we've had a couple of discussions with lots of folks. We've talked with our local alder. We've talked with our state rep, our state senator. I think Fritz Kagi, we're planning on him to come out to the neighborhood and talk about it. But we are proposing it ourselves. We don't believe citizens in a democracy should wait for politicians to propose something. We're proposing that the state of Illinois, this is not just a North Lawndale problem, it's a state of Illinois problem. We have the highest property taxes in the nation, and we're proposing that we do something sort of what California has done in the 70s with Prop 13, where property taxes are assessed at 1% of your appraised value, not these wild assessments that vary year to year. And then also that your property taxes don't go up more than 2% a year. And, of course, that creates other issues. But let's fix this broken property tax system, then address the other issues.
100%. I mean, I like California. I like the Indiana model, too, basically the 1, 2, 3 model on homesteaded, non-homesteaded, and then commercial. But then you have predictability, and you don't get hit with, basically a windfall, the opposite of a windfall, a hurricane bill like you're getting hit with.
That's right. Yeah, that's why we want predictability, we want consistency, and we also want transparency. If I know, in the case of what we're proposing, that my property tax bill, when I sell a home, the new buyer will know their escrow, will be 1% of the appraised value or the sales, value, then that's predictable, as opposed to Pam Bell getting her tax bill after the fact, not knowing what it was going to be, escrowing, and then having to double and triple what's in her escrow because she thought it was going to be a couple $1,000s, and it ended up being $6,000.
Well, right. And as you understand, being a developer, too, and I think more and more people are understanding, particularly when they go to sell their homes, what these exorbitant property taxes do to destroy home equity and thus destroy the return on investment.
That's absolutely right. And so our goal is to try to have transparency. We know up front, predictability. We know how much it's going to increase, and fairness. I mean, across the board, everyone knows that this is what it's going to be. I might not like my tax bill, but I can see how it got calculated.
And so what have your state legislators said? Because, the problem here is that you have one party control of the city and the state, and that party is not in. I mean, there's some talk about temporary relief from time to time, but as you rightly point out, it's a structural problem, and they aren't really interested in a structural solution because they have, government unions like the teachers' unions to serve, and they're not going to be interested in hard caps on property taxes because they'll be concerned about how schools and salaries and pensions get funded. So how do you think about the coalition that you need to build to try to advance this idea?
Well, it'll have to be statewide. It'll have to be city and suburbs. It'll have to be downstate, as well as we've had a discussion with BOMA Chicago. They're the Building Owners and Managers Association. They believe in something like this as well. We haven't really negotiated out what it'll all look like, but they want property tax relief as well. And so when we pit downtown against the neighborhoods, I always say when you pit rich people against poor people always lose, right? And so how do we figure out a system that works for both? And so that they're going to have to be at the table in any solution that we craft.
Who's the they?
BOMA, downtown.
Oh, yeah. Well, sure. I mean, but that they is not a big enough they, right? I mean, that they is not as big as the government unions. That they is not as big as the governor and the mayor and and the Cook County Board president and all of those politicians, if I may hazard to say, who, basically are underwritten, backed, loyal to the government unions that are going to be opposed to this.
Well, which is why we got to take that they is not bigger than the citizens, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to organize. I think that we're looking at trying to put together more data so that we can push this narrative of how do we change it, because our folks are sick and tired of every 3 years we go through this dance again, right? And so people are going to be priced out of their homes. And so let's use this anger to do something productive and move towards something that will benefit, our state.
And you guys are ready to take on the institutional interests that are going to be opposed to this and take, whoever will stand with you?
I think we'll be part of the solution. I think there are going to be lots of entities that hopefully will come to the table. But it's going to be, as you suggested, it's going to be the fight of a lifetime. It's not a simple battle because there are lots of interests, property tax appeal lawyers and the like that benefit from this system.
Richard Townsell, Executive Director at the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. Well, Richard, appreciate that and appreciate you joining us and what you're undertaking. And please stay in touch because I certainly want to encourage it.
We'd love to stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Richard Townsell joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Why wait for Black Friday when you can save every day? Hasseless Mattress is bringing back Black Friday Plus. We've gone rogue and activated Black Friday deals now through December 2nd on all Beautyrest World Class, and Beautyrest Black mattresses. You get the way low Hasseless price on all Beautyrest mattresses, plus a free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, plus employee-free, hassle-free showrooms. Not just on Black Friday, but every day now through December 2nd. Get a Queen Beautyrest Elm Cove A mattress. Other stores sell it for $1,650, but our Black Friday Plus price is just $794, plus free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, and a great night's sleep for way less. Bust down our door for Beautyrest Black Friday Plus through December 2nd at Hasseless Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hasseless.com.
Dan Proft here to tell you about our 2025 Food for the Poor campaign. If you've listened to this station and to our show for any length of time, then you already know about Food for the Poor. They are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We all know about how bad the situation is in Latin America and the Caribbean right now. Economic decline, political instability and corruption, and high food prices. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get food and water to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-2333. 4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And if you are a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then you need to become a business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. Lock in your 2026 marketing now at this incredible price. It really is the best deal in all of Chicago radio. You'll join a long list of businesses who are reaching AM 560's audience of affluent decision makers. And through the generosity of your business, you'll also be helping more than 30 children for a year. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, 847-472-8950. That number, one more time, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about, and maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering, just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. One more time, that number is 312-827-6261.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. With all the resurgent anti-Semitism breathing its odious stench on us in precincts both left and right, we would do well to remember how un-American and anti-American it all is. George Washington, America's indispensable man, first in the hearts of his countrymen, as children used to be taught, put this to rest a long time ago. In his letter to a Jewish synagogue in Rhode Island, he wrote that this is a country that, quote, gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, close quote. It was the first time a civil political leader ever addressed the Jewish people as his equals. That is no small part of the great beauty of our great country, dedicated to equal civil, natural, and religious rights. What we're seeing and hearing today in all of this politically based Jew hatred and insinuation is neither right nor left. It's just un-American. We should view it as George Washington did. That is, a disgrace, a desecration, and an ugly stain on the nation we love. I'm Seth Leibson.
AM 560. The Answer.
Text from 312. Richard from Lawndale Christian Development sounds well thought out and glad they're aware and upset. But he said so many wrong things and isn't connecting dots, not informed especially about the they. But it's a start. Exactly. I mean, I think he is sophisticated. I think he knows what I was saying. And he just doesn't want to go there and openly antagonize the government unions at this point because it's a delicate coalition that's going to have to be built. So I agree that it's a start, which is what I was hoping for, as we discussed earlier in the week when I saw the statements he made and the bonfire that he organized. And, you know, this can be done. It has been done before, and not in the not so distant past, I should say. And that was how Opportunity Scholarships came about. Yeah, we had a titular Republican governor in Rauner, but you still had supermajorities of Democrats. You had to put together a unusual coalition of interests in order to get this done. The trade unions were particularly important. They will be here again. It is a start. And, the people in the neighborhoods, combined with some industry associations, combined with trades, combined with conservative reformers who've been beating this drum like myself for generations, it's worth the effort. If you're going to stick around, you might as well put in the effort. So I'm pleased with the conversation that we had with Richard Townsell from Lawndale, and definitely want to build on that. I want to get to this story too. I mean, technically, I guess I work for corporate America, Salem Communications, but it's not really like corporate America in all the bad ways, I mean. And let me give you an example of the bad ways. This story out of Oklahoma involving 7-Eleven and a clerk who defended herself against a guy who tried to strangle her while she was alone in the store. Take a listen.
Tonight, we are hearing from a 7-Eleven clerk who shot a suspect in the stomach after police say he attacked her over a counterfeit bill. Fox 25's Rob Hagan joins us live tonight. Rob, I hear she just got some news from 7-Eleven.
That's right, Wendy. Good evening. Now, Stephanie Dilliard says 7-Eleven corporate called her today and fired her for using her own gun in self-defense. They say it's against company policy. She says she's lucky to be alive. 25-year-old Stephanie Dilliard was a 7-Eleven clerk who faced terror after she says a man tried to strangle her after she refused a counterfeit $100 bill for burritos, beef sticks, and ice cream. It happened Thursday, just before midnight.
He threatened me, said that he was going to slice my head off, and then that's when I tried to call the police. Realized he started throwing things at me. Came behind the counter. I tried to run off, but he grabbed his hands around my neck and pushed me out of the counter space. That's when I pulled out my gun and I shot him.
Police say the suspect, 59-year-old Kenneth Thompson, ran to MacArthur Boulevard and Northwest 34th Street and called 911. Police say Dilliard is protected under Oklahoma's self-defense law, but she says 7-Eleven Human Resources fired her Monday morning for using her own gun.
Said that they were going to separate from employment because of a violation policy.
Dilliard says she was working by herself from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. for more than 2 years. On Monday, she still had a scratch on her neck and burns on her finger from firing the pistol.
This was a situation where I felt like I was put in a corner between choosing between my job and my life. And I'm always going to choose my life because there's people that depend on me. I'm going home. You know, that's my goal. I need to be here for my kids.
Thompson was arrested at the hospital and charged with assault and battery, threatening acts of violence, trying to pass a fake bill, and a felony warrant for violating parole. Dilliard hopes this incident serves as a wake-up call so no other clerks get hurt or killed, especially women.
If I known that, there's a potential where somebody could be for real in taking my life away, that I will do whatever it takes. I hope that, women see that and, they'll do the same thing. You have the right to defend yourself.
100%. 100%. What the hell is wrong with 7-Eleven? I know, and I know what the mentality is too. It's like these zero tolerance policies in government schools. We have these policies and procedures. We don't have the ability to make judgment calls. We don't have the ability to think logically. Yeah, I get the policies and procedures because there's potential legal exposure if you're allowing clerks or employees to have guns and they do something wrong, and that it exposes, there's a liability for the corporation and so on and so forth. You got a young woman in the store alone and she's attacked and she saves her own life, and you're not going to take those contextual factors, and she's worked for 2 years, apparently a good employee because she's been there 2 years. You're not going to take those contextual factors in? You're just going to fire her because you have something written in an HR manual? What the hell's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with 7-Eleven? I hope this story goes viral and 7-Eleven takes all the necessary heat and Stephanie gets all the necessary support to get him to move on to greener pastures, and 7-Eleven takes a real hit for this. Their stupidity. I mean, these corporations, does anybody pay attention to what's going on and think through things? They operate like government, which is to say thoughtlessly. Coming up at 8:38, we'll talk to Andy McCarthy, National Review, about the Epstein files and what happens next. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has some thoughts on that as well. That's 8:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Cloudy skies and drizzly this morning in the Chicagoland area. That should taper off this afternoon with highs topping out at 51 degrees. Officials with the National Transportation Safety Board say the driver of a landscaping truck that was hit by a train last month in Elgin had little warning before that impact. Officials say the train's whistle and the crossing guards were activated as the truck was crossing the tracks, which left no time for the truck's driver to react. One person was killed and 2 others injured in that accident. 4 people have been hurt, including 2 Chicago police officers following an accident early this morning. According to reports, a marked patrol car was rear-ended by a vehicle. That collision caused the patrol car to crash into a semi-truck. The 22-year-old driver of the vehicle is listed in serious condition, while the car's passenger is in critical condition. The officers involved received head and facial injuries. They're listed in good and fair condition. The semi-driver was unharmed. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Big savings on full-mouth dental implants are here at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
This week on Capitol Hill is the best way to get informed on everything going on with Congress. Hosted by Tony Perkins and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
In every public square, you should be able to go out and share your faith. That is a quintessential thing about being not just a human being, but being American. And that's what we protect.
Stay informed and become a regular listener. This week on Capitol Hill. Sundays at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The Liberty Cigar Company was founded with one mission in mind, to tell America's magnificent story. We pay homage to the seminal people in American history by way of a meticulously crafted premium cigar, custom blended to match the personality of the one so honored. This holiday season, give your special someone the gift of history, as told by a Liberty cigar. Every box is beautifully gift wrapped at no charge. Check out all our cigar collections at libertycigars.com. That's libertycigars.com, where every cigar has a story to tell.
Well, that was a surprise. The HVAC tech just said our furnace apparently has a cracked heat exchanger, and it'll cost thousands.
Oh, you're kidding. He barely looked at it. Now he's pushing a huge repair? What should we do?
I don't really trust them. We need a second opinion. My brother Mark recommended Air Right Heating and Cooling. I looked them up and they seem legit. Great Google reviews. I'm sure they'd give us an honest assessment. He liked that they checked their carbon monoxide readings so he knows the air they're breathing is safe. And I guess it also gave a sense of how much life was left in their furnace.
I'd love that peace of mind. Plus, why spend a fortune on something we might not even need?
Get a second opinion from Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you and get $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling right now at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
When we lose a pet, we lose a member of the family. The house feels quieter. The leash hangs by the door, and our hearts ache for that unconditional love. At Cozy Acres Pet Cemetery and Crematory, they understand that feeling because they're pet owners too. Since 1981, family-owned Cozy Acres has helped other families say goodbye with dignity, respect, and compassion. Whether you choose burial or cremation, your pet is handled gently with the same care you gave them every day of their life. They'll guide you through every step of this difficult time so you can have peace of mind knowing your beloved companion is in good hands. Cozy Acres Pet Cemetery, a final act of love for your faithful friend. Cozy Acres is proudly family-owned, proudly American, and proud to support the values we all share on AM 560 The Answer. Visit cozyacres.co, that's cozy with a K, acres.co, or call 815-723-9588.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Still jammed in the local lanes of the Dan Ryan inbound, but a crash cleared at Roosevelt Road. So from 95th to the Byrne interchange, it's 49 minutes. Outbound is 14, and the express lanes slow down. Inbound from Garfield Boulevard to the Stevenson. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 64 minutes. Outbound is 31. You're jammed on the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne interchange, 70 minutes. Outbound is 53. 8094 eastbound, 2 lanes are down at Torrance Avenue with a flipped over semi-truck. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here. At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect patchy morning fog followed by thick cloud cover with a high of 51. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 41. Tomorrow will bring considerable cloudiness and a high of 50. By Saturday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. The Trump administration may have handled the Epstein Files matter badly over the course of the past year. But as suggested, this is boomeranging on the other side. And they're so bad at damage control. So to the extent they were trying to muddy the waters, they're getting muddier in the direction of the Dem socialists. Jasmine Crockett taking to the House floor to try to what about Republicans when it comes to financial support for from Jeffrey Epstein after Jim Comer went through the efforts made by Hakeem Jeffries and Democrats to solicit money from Jeffrey Epstein. And, of course, the other cozy relationships revealed in emails, Larry Summers, the Clintons. So Jasmine Crockett, fake eyelash of Spice, the Social Spice Girls, takes it to the House floor, and she offers this.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly.
Her team.
Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
She certainly is, as is going street on the issue. So it turns out that her team of super sleuths, and this is an officer of the court, remember, got it wrong. Easily identifiable as wrong. Lee Zeldin pointed it out. The Jeffrey Epstein he got a campaign donation from is Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who is in no way related to the Jeffrey Epstein in question. Number one, Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, as he's listed on the FEC filings, Jeffrey Epstein, who is material here, not a doctor. That's one thing. Also, you can do things like look at middle name and middle initial and see that they're not the same. Also, in the Lee Zeldin case, the Jeffrey Epstein donations made to Lee Zeldin were in 2020. Jeffrey Epstein, who is in question here, died in 2019. But other than that, it's a great argument Jasmine Crockett makes. Can you imagine being represented by her in a court of law? Or in Congress, for that matter? Stacey Plaskett, the delegate from the Virgin Islands, trying to do her own damage control, per the Washington Post expose of her texting with Jeffrey Epstein during congressional committee hearing with Michael Cohen talking about the hush money case. Who should I ask him about? Give me names. And then she would dutifully repeat them. Stacey Plastico, also an officer of the court, veteran prosecutor. She was using her veteran prosecutor techniques that were developed over a 20-year career.
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Regular Clarence Darrow. Jim Comer was asked whether or not the Clintons, who he has subpoenaed, will get the Bannon Navarro treatment if they don't comply with this subpoena. He was asked by John Solomon over at Just the News about this. Here's what he said.
Mr. Chairman, there are two very important people that you subpoenaed early on, or excuse me, that you asked to voluntarily cooperate. They didn't schedule their interviews. Now there's a subpoena. But Bill and Hillary Clinton, if they continue to duck you, will you take them to court? Will you try to enforce a subpoena? Will you go the Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro route?
100%. We're going to go that route. We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton. Look, Donald Trump's answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day he gets asked questions about Epstein, and he answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats. Two Republicans have come forward, Bill Barr and Alex Acosta. They did interviews and deposition, and those were tough, but they did them. They didn't back down. Other Democrats have sent letters that saying they knew nothing about Epstein, which would hold in court if something ever comes out that they did know something, then they committed perjury there. But the Clintons have never responded. They're the one group in this investigation that's never had to answer questions in front of a credible reporter, and they've never certainly answered questions from attorneys or members of Congress. So we expect the Clintons to come in, or I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Bannon and Navarro were met with when the Democrats were in control.
Is this going about as well as they had hoped? I'm talking about the Democrats. For more on this, Andy McCarthy joins us, former Chief Assistant U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York, contributing editor at National Review, and author of the bestseller Ball of Collusion, The Plot to Rig an Election and Destroy a Presidency. Andy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, great to be with you.
I mean, you know, there's the political angle here, the boomeranging that is happening. But one wonders, in terms of this renewed investigation, both by the Justice Department as well as by the House Oversight Committee, if any new ground will be trod.
I just have never really thought there was a reason to think that there's a lot of embarrassing stuff there. I mean, just as you've just pointed out with respect to a number of people, there's a lot of reason to be embarrassed about having connections to this guy. And to the extent that these people had these connections long after he was an adjudicated pedophile, I just think it's horrific. The congresswoman who said that, prosecutors get information from anywhere. Yeah, that's because prosecutors are investigating crime, so if you're investigating crime, then you have to deal with the criminals who were involved in crime to get information about the other criminals. That's why we get immunity authority. We have all kinds of other authority as prosecutors that Congress doesn't have. Congress actually can make sure that they're talking to, credible, decent people to get information. And when they're not, they can subpoena them and question them in front of everyone else. That's the way that's supposed to work. So, I think it's embarrassing as far as whether there's anything criminal, first of all, the Justice Department and the FBI told us 4 months ago that they had done a deep dive through all their Epstein holdings and didn't think that there was any reason to think there'd be more criminal charges. And I've always thought, Dan, that, the Epstein case was brought by the first Justice Department. I mean, I know it was the Southern District of New York, and they're not in love with Trump, but I know that office because I worked there for 20 years. When you're trying to bury something, you don't indict it because that triggers all your discovery obligations. They indicted Epstein, then they indicted Maxwell. That's not how you act when you're trying to bury something. I always thought with respect to Trump that, that investigation in New York was run by Maureen Comey, and it was run at a time when the Justice Department was trying to make a case on Trump through Michael Cohen. So the idea that if there was anything there that was criminal with respect to Trump, that the Southern District of New York wouldn't have exploited it at a time when they were obviously trying to make a case. And then that the Biden Justice Department for 4 years, when they were throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at Trump, would sit on the Epstein stuff if it was that explosive. I just thought that was preposterous. But look, when you indict something and you trigger all the government's discovery obligations, the idea that you're going to be able to bury criminal evidence against someone who's a participant is illusory. And I don't think there's any reason to think we're going to see any more criminal charges. We'll see a lot of embarrassing stuff, but I don't think you're going to see big crimes here.
Speaking of Comey, not Maureen, but Jim, is the government's case against Comey imperiled? This week, a judge chided federal prosecutors, accusing them of some irregularities when it came to, discovery, among other things. Is there a possibility that this case is dismissed?
I think so, but I also think that the things that have caused a frenzy in the last 24 hours or so are not the big problems with the case. I think the biggest problem with the case is that the indictment is incoherent. I don't think it states a coherent crime. But this business about, the big story today is that Lindsay Halligan filed an indictment that the grand jury didn't see or vote on. And that's really not what happened. What happened was the grand jury was presented with a 3-count indictment. They approved 2 of the charges. So we know that they approved the 2 counts that are at issue. And then what happened was at about 7 o'clock in the evening, what Halligan did once she learned that only 2 of the charges had been approved by the grand jury is word for word, she put those 2 charges in a second document and had the foreman of the grand jury, which you're allowed to do under the rules of criminal procedure. You can return an indictment with just the foreman. The foreman of the grand jury was satisfied that the counts in the second document that Halligan prepared were the same as the 2 counts that the grand jury as a whole had voted. So he signed both documents, but they didn't try to, they didn't try to conceal the first document. Both documents were filed in court. So the magistrate judge who looked at this did one of these rending his robes and the sky is falling kind of opinions that said, how could she have filed a document that she didn't present to the grand jury and they didn't vote on? And I just think that's much ado about nothing, because we know that the document that she filed has the charges that the grand jury approved. So, I think, as usual, people are getting themselves whipped up over something that's kind of a sideshow. The bigger issue is, does the indictment state a crime, and did she use, attorney-client privileged communications between Comey and Daniel Richman? Did she use those in her presentation, and did she have access to them when she was deciding what to charge? That could be a big Sixth Amendment problem, and the content of the indictment could be a big Fifth Amendment problem. But I think a lot of this other stuff that people are getting whipped up over is, it's a lot of noise, but I don't think it amounts to much.
Well, I mean, but Richmond has the right to obviate privilege, and he admitted in a deposition, or he testified in a deposition, that in fact he was used as a pass-through by Jim Comey. So isn't that appropriate evidence to support a claim that Jim Comey perjured himself? I don't understand what's incoherent about that.
Well, two things. First, when we're talking about the attorney-client privilege, the privilege belongs to the client, not the lawyer.
Right.
So Comey was the client.
Comey was.
Can't waive.
Richmond was representing Comey.
After Trump fired Comey, Comey retained Richmond and two other guys to represent him, and Halligan had access to communications between Comey and Richmond between that date, which was the date Trump fired him. I think that's like May 9th of 2017, up until the end of that month. So the issue is, were those communications used in the grand jury presentation? And Comey and Richmond, whatever he said about this, can't waive Comey's attorney.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, what about communications between Richmond and Comey prior to Richmond's retention by Comey?
Yeah, it's the problem that they have is that what the indictment says is that Comey, when he was FBI director, instructed somebody who was an FBI subordinate to communicate with the media about an investigation of Hillary Clinton. And in fact, they even botched that because what Cruz misspoke when he put the question. So instead of saying the Clinton investigation, he said the Clinton administration. So they have a problem with that as well. But the stuff that they have where they can show that Comey had contact with Richmond and then Richmond spoke to the media, the problem is that it either came after Richmond left the FBI in February of 2017. So a lot of the communications that people are pointing to happened after Richmond was gone. And the thing that people are most whipped up about, and I think this is understandable because it's real misconduct on Comey's part, is the handling of the Trump memos, which he communicated to the Times through Richmond.
Right.
At that point in time, Comey's not in the FBI, Richmond's not in the FBI, and the communications are about Trump. They're not about Hillary Clinton. So that's the problem they have. It's not that there's no misconduct there. I find this very frustrating every time I end up talking about this because it makes you sound like you're trying to excuse the things that Comey did, which I actually like. I wrote a book about this, so I'm not like somebody who has his head in the sand about stuff that Comey did. But the thing is, what he's charged with is not what you're angry about. You know, I think people are righteously angry about the way Comey handled Russiagate and about the way Comey handled the business with Trump's memos, which in fact he was almost, the attorney-client privilege stuff that we were talking about, that is in connection with the investigation of how Comey's memos were handled after he was fired. So it's not that there's not misconduct here, but the thing is, you have to, if you're going to charge someone, you have to charge them with the thing that you're angry about or the misconduct that you think you've identified. And here, that's not what they've charged him with. They tried to get him on something, so hyper-technical they haven't really explained it well. And the only reason they did it is because Trump wanted him charged, and everything they had in the way of his misconduct is stuff that the statute of limitations had already run on. So this is something they thought they could get him on because he reaffirmed testimony he had given in 2017 when he testified on, September 30th of 2020.
Right.
So they had this little piece that they thought they could get him on where the statute of limitations was barely still ticking. And the stuff that people are upset about, and I think rightly upset about with respect to Comey's performance, is all stuff that happened in 2016, 2017 that you're not going to be able to get him on because the statute is run.
Andy McCarthy, former Chief Assistant U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York, contributing editor at National Review, author of the bestseller Ball of Collusion, The Plot to Rig an Election and Destroy a Presidency. Andy, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
And Andy joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-899-5600. That's 708-899-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, we'll pick up maybe a little bit of our discussion on Comey and the case against him tomorrow. Ran out of time, but it's always good to get perspective from Andy McCarthy. Thank you all for joining us on this installment of Chicago's Morning Answer. Great calls and texts and comments about all the topics we discussed this morning. Back tomorrow, Open Mic Friday. It is now 9 o'clock, AM 560 WIND Chicago.
It took a while. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but we finally got the September jobs report.